cost and lower energy bills, but you don't just have to imagine how beautiful new Window Nation windows will look on your home. You can see it. Use their free virtual visualizer at windownation.com/homeshow. Upload a picture of your house and try out hundreds of options online. Get design tips from the experts and learn how Window Nation's trained installation specialists have helped over 150,000 homes with over 96% satisfaction. But remember, these once-a-year home show savings are for a very limited time. Call Window Nation today at 866-90NATION or go to windownation.com/homeshow. Get 2 windows free with every 2 you buy. Pay no interest for 60 months. That's 5 full years. 866-90NATION or go to windownation.com/homeshow.
Who will earn a playoff spot? Get to your Ultimate Sports Lodge to cheer on your favorite pro football team. The action kicks off Saturday at Twin Peaks at 4:30 as Seattle takes on San Francisco, followed up with San Diego versus Jacksonville at 8:15. Are you a fan of Twin Peaks? Sign up for their e-club to stay up to date on all things Twin Peaks and score free stuff. Signing up is easy. Just go to twinpeaksrestaurant.com/peaks-club to get started today.
Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
WIBC HD2 W298BB. WIBC HD3 W228CX. Indianapolis.
The Pacers welcome the Atlanta Hawks to the Fieldhouse this evening at 6:30 on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
What in the hell do you think you are doing?
Hey, John Boy.
I'm telling you straight, it's my way or the highway. So anybody who wants to walk, do it now.
Hey, everybody, we're all going to get laid.
And again, it's picked up. It's Darius Leonard. A pick 6 for the Maniac. Touchdown, INDY. Yes, sir.
Oh, the chicken. Double time.
Miles Turner.
Yeah.
John, I have never been better to be on the air with you here in Indianapolis, a place where so many of my dreams have come true.
The Ride with JMV on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
It's really weird, honestly. It is really weird. J-Law, who's a friend of the show, both this show and the one down the hall every Saturday night, right? He is the guy that presides over the Foo Bar Lounge every Saturday night, for example. Had hit me up on Twitter a little bit earlier this afternoon and said, hey, are you anywhere today? Where are you today? I guess was better stated. Where are you today? And it is weird because I'm in studio. I think I've been in studio one Friday since July. One Friday since July. And this is coming from somebody that I like being in studio, but I love being out there with you guys. So this is really weird, to be honest with you. In studio for the second time since July is where we are today. And I think next week will kind of be the same deal. However, if you listened yesterday, and hopefully you did, our first tavern tour stop of the year 2023, and this is beyond legit. It's a first-timer for me. Obviously not a first time I've ever been in there. But a first-timer for me. It is a place that most of you have been in the past. It is the Alley Cat in Broad Ripple. And that is coming up 2 weeks from today. 2 weeks from today. That is combining our Larceny Bourbon Locks and Luna Azul Tequila Shots. Combining that with a tavern tour stop at the Alley Cat in Broad Ripple. All right, Eric Bieniemy in town. It's kind of funny. I got a dude out there. I'm not going to say who he is, but he's really good. I guess you can do that. I've never tried to. That has tracks where these planes are going, right? I think we did that years ago. But tracking where these planes are going, and he kind of texted me last night and said, hey, you know what? It's kind of weird where it's going here. And lo and behold, it was Eric Bieniemy, the offensive coordinator of the Kansas City Chiefs, which, again, makes perfectly good sense. Perfectly good sense. You kind of wonder why he has been so directly involved in an offense that has been so prolific for so many years and winning at such a high level. And embracing what we all embrace. I think about an offense across the board in the NFL right now, right? stud quarterback, former stud wide receiver, but still good enough wide receivers, a stud tight end, and then you go at it offensively. Now, again, what kind of works against you, and it probably does, a lot of folks within that organization or on the coaching staff, Andy Reid has full and total control over things. But, yeah, you would think, you wonder why he hasn't had a job already, given the success of that offense and that franchise, and you wonder where he might be as far as the hierarchy of this group. And the Colts just tweeted out they have completed their interview with Raheem Morris, the defensive coordinator of the LA Rams. So that is complete as well. And he has a long history. He was a head coach in Tampa at the age of 32, which is ridiculous. But he was in, and that interview is complete. We'll go over those that they still plan on interviewing, and if anything else drops, we'll do that as well. I did want to hit this within the last, when was this today? 1 o'clock, I believe. 1 o'clock, the Colts Twitter account sent this out. I'm assuming all their socials fire this away. But it was a letter from Colts owner Jim Irsay. And there's a lot of words. I'm going to try to get to the nuts and bolts of these words. A multi-paragraph letter penned to you fans about this past season. But please know, no one is more unsatisfied than I am. No one has higher expectations than I do. And no one wants to win for our fans and our community more than the people in our organization wearing the horseshoe every day. So as I've always said, the responsibility for making us better ultimately falls on me, and our off-season work has already begun. That includes our search for the next head coach, preparing for an important draft in April, and continuing to bolster the talented core of players already on our roster. Final paragraph. And again, I edited this a little bit because it was lengthy. It'd take me pretty much the first segment to read it. Final paragraph. No one can ever guarantee wins or losses, but as long as I'm owner, I can guarantee that winning championships will always be my goal. And I'll be doing everything I can to help us get there. That's what you deserve. And that's what we'll be working hard to deliver. That is the nuts and the bolts of a letter, again, penned to you fans from Colts owner Jim Irsay that came across via all their socials around 1 o'clock. So there you go. Yeah, not as chock full of bravado as it has been in the past, is it? And again, just like Chris Ballard on Tuesday, what else are you going to say? The actions and the results are the only thing that's really going to change anybody's mind. I think everybody out there is probably, and this is something you have to do, but I think everybody's thoughts on this right now, it's probably, you don't even care what really is said. You probably just shake your head and go, yeah, okay. When are they going to start winning consistently? When are we going to see these results? Why is it that you move forward as a general manager position with a lack of results for 6 years? Why do you feel that it's the savvy, the smart move to go into year number 7? A lot of whys up here, right? It's kind of interesting. You go back to last year, and that just complete and utter debacle. Remember how we felt this time last year? After that Jacksonville debacle? I mean, so embarrassing across the board. You had basically week after week of that toward the tail end of the regular season this year. But we were just kind of dipping our toes into the water of embarrassment at the end of last year in that Jacksonville game. And how you felt and how we talked about this, that until this is proven otherwise, this is what you're going to expect. And I mean consistently proven otherwise. Not like a nice weekend where you hang in there and you get the benefit of, somebody making a mistake and you beat one of the better teams of the NFL in Kansas City. And certainly not winning one division game within the AFC South. Starting that division with Houston with a tie and finishing that up with a loss to a team this past Sunday that Cal McNair, their owner, sure as hell didn't want to win. He didn't want to win it, but clearly Lovie Smith did and probably think it's pretty funny right now, the spot that the Texans are in, considering the spot they would have been in had they lost. That said, you just kind of sit back and you wait, and I don't blame you one bit. I said this last year, you wait on the delivery of results. We're all allowed to get excited along the way. We're all allowed to go, wow, you know what? I like that move. Hey, you know what? That's pretty good. And we'll have plenty of opportunity to do that because you'll get to feel out, you'll get to sort out why the Colts hired whomever they end up hiring as their next head coach. And you'll do the same as far as what they do with this 4th overall selection. Move up, stay there, draft a quarterback, hard target somebody. Who do you like? Who do you not like? But you won't really get a sense of where this team is for the good, for the positive, and what you expect until you see them put it together. This past year just kind of felt like a culmination of a lot of crap that was going on and a lot of bad decisions, certainly bad play, bad coaching. This season kind of felt like a culmination of a bad organization bottoming out in the NFL, did it not? That's what it felt like. And until you see otherwise, that's the way that it's going to be. And I don't blame you one bit. That's how everybody, you look at this skeptically until they prove otherwise. Again, we'll go across this offseason and we'll either like or not like what they end up doing. But as I mentioned at the outset, this letter has a lot of words. That's what it is. Just words. And that's basically what this organization has been about. A lot of which, when they tell you what they feel not only should, but is going to happen, have not turned out whatsoever to be true. So a lot of words until this organization proves they are not what we saw at the end of last year, and they are certainly not the worst of the NFL that we know them to be right now. Almost be better off just to say, hey, I'm on it. Leave it short and sweet. People would probably take that the wrong way. Hopefully you're on it. Because I don't know how much more this has the feeling of the not at all so good years, the bad years, that many of us of the older generation lived through, that none of you, the younger generation, have any recollection whatsoever how bad that it was. This year felt a hell of a lot like that. Bad play, bad execution, bad coaching, bad decision-making, all the above. But you can check it out again throughout the Colts socials and certainly on Twitter from the Colts Twitter account. That is a letter to you fans from the owner, Jim Irsay, that will certainly ring hollow until you finally see some consistent results. Pacers back in action later on tonight. Pacers and the Hawks from Gainbridge Fieldhouse, the first of two, which should be an outstanding weekend. Now, there's no doubt you'd like to see them loaded up per usual with Tyrese Haliburton, as we learned yesterday from Adrian Wojnarowski. 2 weeks is what he reported, and then a reevaluation on a sprained elbow and a bruised knee, as they were supposed to be scouring the scans as well to make sure everything is good to go, and we'll see how they end up working it tonight. I was on Tony Katz this morning. He was asking me about that. I'm assuming that the role of Haliburton is probably going to be played by Andrew Nembhard. Maybe Matherin's vaulted, I would expect, into the starting lineup coming up later on this evening. That takes a lot away from the bench. But I was asked, wait a minute, what about TJ McConnell here? TJ McConnell is such a ball of fire, such a mass of energy when he gets in there. Why not him? Why not him in the starting lineup? Well, I think that we understand this, and I really like Matherin coming off the bench too, so don't get me wrong. I love Matherin coming off the bench. Now, I know everybody screams, got to have more minutes, you want more minutes, and that's fine. He'll close the game if he's playing well, regardless of coming off the bench or starting, and he's going to get his minutes. But I have loved watching him come off the bench. But TJ McConnell is exactly what Rick Carlisle wants coming off that bench. He is a spark, and that's exactly what he brings. To me, that's not something that you would necessarily want to start with. And you got two big ones coming up later on tonight. Trae Young, I believe, is in action, right? With the Hawks. They have had a disappointing season. Don't get me wrong. It was a week ago when there was some conversation about their head coach, Nate McMillan, stepping away. And they consistently have guys on the trading block, one of those being John Collins, and that's a guy years ago that the Pacers drafted TJ Leaf in front of. That a lot of teams would suggest that John Collins would look good here. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that's going to happen, but that is a consistent conversation. I will say this, and we'll see if the length of time that Haliburton is missing will add a little bit of a ripple effect to this, but you're hearing a lot more, not necessarily anybody that's concretely in the know like Wojnarowski, but you will hear many rumors, or you certainly have in the past week, more so than you've heard in a long time, outside of Miles Turner, about the Pacers adding something, coming up with something else, doing something else. John Collins has been one of those names. You know, I mentioned last week, somebody had brought up Kyle Kuzma of the Wizards, consistently around here because he's a former Hoosier. Everybody wants to bring up OG Anunoby. That's a pipe dream, it would seem. I'm not suggesting it would be a bad thing, but it seems like a pipe dream. But what I'm saying is there are a lot more rumors that are floating around out there that are with regard this team doing something about their squad before the trade deadline that they believe will help their play out. Not necessarily selling, as many have hoped that they would do, but actually being in the market and trying to really get better and do something about this year. And we'll see. Next 2 weeks or not, longer, shorter. I mentioned this yesterday. If you're a Pacer fan, you just always feel the negative out of injuries. You fear that whatever they say right now is not at all going to be the case, and I don't blame you because you've been down that path way too many times not to be a little bit burnt by it. It goes back to Granger, you have Paul George, you have Victor Oladipo. You are conditioned as a Pacers fan until you're taught otherwise to fear the worst every time that there's an injury. Felt that way the other night. You probably still, to a degree, feel that way, even though that report yesterday seemed to be, compared to serious injuries of the past, not so much. But that does not stop you from feeling that way, and I don't blame you. Pacers Hawks later on tonight, a myriad of Hoosier connections. I guess I should say Hoosier State connections coming up on Saturday. Yeah, obviously starting with Jake LaRavia, Indiana State, Wake Forest, former LC standout. Desmond Bain has made himself, he was on with me this summer, a fantastic basketball player. Seton Catholic over in Wayne County for Desmond Bain. John Conchar, Purdue Fort Wayne, has made himself into an excellent piece, both starting and then sometimes off the bench as well for that Memphis team. Jaren Jackson Jr. spent some time around here at Park Tudor. We know that. Got a lot of dudes. A lot of dudes with local interest and local flavor, and I believe Memphis is off tonight. So I would suggest you're going to end up seeing John Morant. Probably going to see them as close to his full strength as they can be. But you got back-to-back coming up tonight, tomorrow night again. Atlanta and Memphis versus the Pacers tonight, tomorrow night. We got you covered. Beginning at 6:30 later on tonight for the pregame show. 7 is that tip time. Prior to that, you got the last word. We got the last word at 6 o'clock tonight, right? Does that go 30 minutes? It's going to be weird not doing the Friday night Colts thing from 6 until 7 as well. Anyway, last word tonight at 6:30, Pacers, Hawks pregame coverage. And you got Bob Lovell on Indiana Sports Talk coming up later on tonight right here as well. Bob Lovell's going to join us coming up here a little bit closer to the bottom of the hour. There's a lot of great high school action going on, not just tonight, but this weekend as well. Marion County semifinals. A lot of great matchups around the state. I did see this. In terms of football, you guys see that Taven Jackson is now in the transfer portal. The former Center Grove quarterback who spent his freshman season down at Tennessee has entered the transfer portal. And I saw this. I'm assuming, is this accurate? That he's going to be at the IU-Wisconsin game coming up tomorrow? Did I see that accurately? But saw that a little bit earlier today that he's in the transfer portal. Yeah, of course, a former teammate of his, Carson Steele. Carson Steele was in the transfer portal, not so much at this time a week ago, but close to it. By this time last week, he had made that decision to bolt from Muncie and playing for Ball State after 2 seasons to play in the rest of his collegiate eligibility for Chip Kelly out at UCLA. Interesting story with Taven Jackson right there as well. So we can hit all that if you like at 239-1070. Email address, JMV at 1075thefan.com. Shows inside the lounge via YouTube Live as well. I'll get hooked up with you guys coming up in just a second, too. And more on the Colts head coaching search, more on your thoughts on what they're going to look like, what they should look like, how they should prepare for the draft, what they should do, trade up, stay where they are. And still, as I mentioned, no conversation whatsoever other than Jeremy Fowler a couple of days ago regarding any Harbaugh interest. Does it kind of feel like those of us that really want to see this are more or less kind of hanging on right now? Hanging on to nothing? You guys feel like that too? It does a little bit feel like we're hanging on to nothing. Unless, and you just don't get this anymore, do you? You don't get these incredibly great kept secrets. And if you do, they're few and far between. But this would have to be one of those. You get back and forth letters from the administration of Michigan regarding Jim Harbaugh and Jim Harbaugh's response. All that is pretty funny because it is just so general. It's almost like if you wanted to, you could separate the paragraph and put in the middle of the paragraph in parentheses, the coach may go ahead and bolt anyway, but in very general terms you have there. Hey, listen, I feel you all at this point. Kirk says, going back to that letter from Jim Irsay to the fans, I'm tired of letters of apology. Yeah, make no mistake about it. So's everybody else. This one hits differently, Kirk. It does. This one hits differently because it wasn't just a near miss. It's not something where you can go ahead and try to place all the blame on the lack of the leadership of Carson Wentz. This was just overall collective team and organizational FUBAR. This one hits different. This is one where you kind of sit back in your chair and you go, yeah, whatever. Wake me up when you guys get consistent and start making those sound decisions, start playing effectively. Yeah, until then, I'm going to pay attention to something else. That is incredibly different to me than last year. Last year, the whole Wentz target was convenient. And don't get me wrong, the guy wasn't Joe Montana, but at the end of the year and how that they wanted him out and that mandate came down and this is what you're going to have to do, this season hits a lot differently because you were right there a year ago. And 2 weeks prior to circling the drain, everybody thought that you were going to be a team to beat, or at the very least, after that game in Arizona on Christmas night, a team that nobody in the AFC postseason wanted to play. You go from that to being the laughingstock and then to having the worst season in history. Yeah, I know that they had one loss, check that, one win seasons in the past, but yeah, given what you're told, given the expectations, given how they looked, this is at least, and I've been around here the entire time, and maybe it's because you look back on those bad years with a lack of expectation whatsoever. Again, this one just was different. Discombobulation, embarrassment, all of the above. This one did hit different. All right. 239-1070 is the number. Let me take a break. Bob Lovell is going to join us coming up at the bottom of the hour. Our friend from ESPN Radio, Mike Wells, to go over a lot of what has transpired. Not only with the Colts, but with the Pacers as well, top of the hour. And Don Fischer, voice of the Hoosiers, IU. We got to get to that, too. Brian Evans, if you missed Brian Evans yesterday, podcast 1075thefan.com, the former Big Ten Player of the Year. They used to have a section, I'm not sure if they still do. Does anybody know? In the Star, do they still have that thing called Let It Out? Is it still there? Let It Out used to be a go-to. If you remember back in the day with the late, great Robin Miller, the Old Scout was a go-to on the weekends. The Old Scout was always a go-to. And if you're not privy to that story, it's one of the greatest stories of all time. But the Old Scout was always a go-to. Let It Out was always a go-to as well. I just haven't, I guess, in so many terms, gone to it in forever. So I don't know if it still exists. But Brian Evans yesterday, the former Hoosier, let it out regarding that team, the team that he's watching right now, the team that is playing, the team that is being coached up. And if you missed any of it, podcast 1075thefan.com. Don Fischer, voice of the Hoosiers in the 5 o'clock hour. Back-to-back tonight, Pacers-Hawks, Pacers-Grizzlies coming up tomorrow night. We'll dive into that. And a lot of calls. If I owe you one from yesterday or the day before, 239-1070 will get you right on. Otherwise, we shall start where you line them up at that number. Inside the Lounge via YouTube Live. You got us on HD Radio, the stream, the app, and 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Hi, it's Steve Mann. Have you heard the commercials for the Mark Patrick Stop Smoking seminars? And they said only $49.99 and it could work for you. So I thought, that's not even a week's worth of smoking. So I went. And guess what? It did work for me. You know, my friends and family are still amazed. I quit smoking. I didn't have cravings, anxiety, or weight gain. Listen, I don't know how it works, but I know it works because I'm living proof, and it's 100% guaranteed. So what do you got to lose? I'll tell you what you got to lose. A very bad habit.
Join Mark Patrick seminars and stop smoking without cravings, irritability, or weight gain. Only $49.99 guaranteed. Don't just cut down, but stop smoking once and for all or your money back. Seminars are 8 p.m. on Thursday, January 19th at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites in Noblesville, or 2 p.m. on Saturday, January 21st at the Holiday Inn Indianapolis Airport. Registration is 30 minutes before the seminar. Sign up at markpatrickseminars.com. That's markpatrickseminars.com.
Hopefully, you'll never have a house or business fire. But if you do, hopefully, you'll never forget this name, Michaelis. They can be there before that lump in your throat goes away. In fact, they're the reason it goes away. Over 35 years of helping people recover from faulty wiring, lightning strikes, or that unattended pot of pasta on the stove. Michaelis crews often roll in before the fire hoses are rolled up. Their proven process of water extraction, smoke removal, and content storage will calm your nerves. Then their talented craftsmen will rebuild your home and restore your spirits. That starts by being your advocate with the insurance company. You'll find Michaelis doesn't just feel for you, they work for you. Water, storms, fire, and foundations. Life happens. Michaelis happens to help you through it. Call 844-FIX-INDY. Make it Michaelis.
At Eskenazi Health, our patients are treated with compassion and skill. That's why Eskenazi Health is looking for professionals who share our mission and are dedicated to serving the community. As an employee of Indiana's top hospital for social responsibility and community health investment, you'll enjoy excellent benefits, competitive pay, and unwavering leadership support. Learn more about Eskenazi Health careers online at eskenazihealth.edu/careers.
Hey, everybody, we've all heard stories from friends and family about something really bad that happened. You're in an accident, there's a painful life-altering injury, huge medical bills, even wrongful death, all from someone else's fault. In fact, some of you may be dealing with that right now. That's where the attorneys at Paul Ritchie Law Firm can help. Tony Patterson, Paul Cruz, and John McLaughlin lead a team with over 70 years of collective courtroom experience and millions of dollars in jury awards and settlements for their clients. Now, none of us can change the past. Just know that Tony, Paul, and John are on your side to help you and your family going forward. In fact, they're recognized by super lawyers and U.S. News and World Report as being among the leading injury lawyers in Indiana. So even if you're unsure you have a case, give Paul Ritchie a call. They'll listen and give you their free experienced legal opinion. Call 317-269-2509 or visit parinjury.com. That's PARR injury.com.
Hey, it's Dan Dockage for Affinity Whole Health. Guys, do something for yourselves. Go to feelgreatindy.com. I'm on a testosterone replacement program with Affinity. Let me tell you, the benefits are amazing. Go to feelgreatindy.com. That's feelgreatindy.com.
If you could bottle this, Smith can shoot the three and hits the three. Everyone will want some. That's the kind of energy flowing around Pacers Nation. We are roaring. Here's another three. Torches! We are ready to rise and show the world what we're about. And here's Turner hammering it down. We are revved up.
The Pacers battle John Moran and the Memphis Grizzlies on their only visit to Gainbridge Fieldhouse Saturday at 7. Tickets at Pacers.com. Pacers Grizzlies, Saturday at 7.
It's JMV. If this is the year for your home's custom remodel, check out my friends at Get 'em Associates, doing home remodels since 1987. Getem.com. That's GETTUM.com.
It's Kevin and Query.
Austin Meek covers the Michigan football program.
Hypothetically, Jim Irsay calls Jim Harbaugh in a week. I'll give you a 3-year, $30 million right now. Any chance Jim Harbaugh says no?
I don't think so. I think it would be hard to turn that down, especially if part of the pitch is, hey, come to the NFL and you don't have to deal with this stuff that you have to deal with in college football right now. My opinion is if Jim Harbaugh had that opportunity, I think he'd probably take it.
Kevin and Query.
Weekday mornings at 7.
On 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan. The Ride with JMV.
Can I buy you guys a drink? Guess not.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Hey, welcome back. The last word is at 6 o'clock tonight, followed by the Hawks and the Pacers. Tomorrow night, you got the Grizzlies and the Pacers. A lot of Hoosier State flavor going on there. Skivvy's just sent me this. Hey, JMV, did you see this from the great Mel Brooks? Is Mel Brooks active on Twitter? He's got to be like 95 years old. Love Mel Brooks. The names you know, the history you don't. History of the World Part 2, a 4-night event streaming March the 6th on Hulu. I think I'm going to be all about that. You guys remember History of the World Part 1? What was that, 1981, I believe? Fantastic. So what is that, Hulu, March the 6th, streaming? 4-night event, History of the World Part 2. We've been waiting for so long. So thank you very much, Mel Brooks. Thank you very much, Hulu. That will be outstanding. If you're on hold, I'll get back to you in a second. Andy Moore, Automotive Group Hotline. He's got Indiana Sports Talk tonight, tomorrow night. Going to keep you up to date because there is more than an armload of high school basketball, both girls and boys, going on, and especially in and around the area. Let Bob Lovell figure all that out for you coming up later on tonight and tomorrow night around this great state of Indiana. He joins us thanks to our 14 Central Indiana CarX locations. CarX.com to serve you today. Are you ready to go?
Yeah, I am. This is a great time of year. How can you not be ready to go?
Yeah.
It's perfect. We got a lot of games. We got pairing show Sunday. We have Marion County tourney and other tourneys. So girls are ramping up their regular season, and Yeah, you better be ready to go.
Did you see where Taven Jackson, by the way, before we start out on basketball, the former Center Grove quarterback, is in the transfer portal? A lot of mention maybe getting back here and doing something with Tom Allen down in Bloomington. A little bit of that mention, at least rumor mention right now. Thoughts?
I think that, number one, I'm not surprised when anyone goes in the transfer portal.
Yes.
Secondly, if in fact, I think they recruited him hard out of Center Grove. I think it'd be fantastic. I think he's a tremendously talented athlete. Had great success, obviously, at Center Grove, and if they're fortunate, if in fact he is interested and they're able to get him, I think it'd be tremendous.
Would you have gone into the transfer portal back when you were a player?
I'm sure everybody. Yeah, why not? But it's. I'm not exact. I don't think I would. Number one, I think people have lost sight of the fact that I remember, all my recruiting days as an assistant, as a head coach, especially as a head coach, I would look at mom and dad and a kid and say, do not make this decision based only on basketball. To pick a school where you're going to feel comfortable, they're going to treat you well, you're going to get a great education. I would try to explain to them that some of the major life, some of the biggest events in your life are going to happen to you when you're in college, and so you want to pick the right place. You're possibly going to find that spouse. A lot of people go to college and meet their husbands or wives. It's going to ultimately impact that first job and your career and what you're going to do. And so you can't be single-minded in terms of making that decision. Now, having said that, nobody listened. My own daughter didn't listen. She went to Indiana State to start out with because she made the cheerleader squad. And I told her, I sit every day and talk to moms and dads, and you're doing exactly what I tell them not to do. And here's my own child going ahead and do it. So, look, you're in it's a different world, different day and age. I show my age in these kinds of discussions. Things aren't going well, but think about it, John. It's an AAU world. It's an AAU culture. You don't like your AAU coach. You don't get enough touches. You're not the man. You find a different AAU team. Same thing in this. Same thing in high school. You don't like your high school coach. He's not giving you the ball enough. You're not the man with 20 seconds on the clock. You got your feelings hurt. You're transferring. You're leaving a high school, going to another high school. So why would we think that it's going to be any different when you go to college? And they've created literally a free agency. Our whole world's about free agency if you stop and think about it. And if you think about, when you're dating somebody and your girlfriend cuts you loose, your buddies are calling you a free agent. So the concept of free agency permeates our entire culture. So why would it not be part of what's happening in college athletics?
I think I chose my schools with regard to where I felt I had the best opportunity to find a date.
or best bars.
I ended up in Terre Haute. Maybe I can find one over here. Here I am. So there you go.
Well, you know what? That's the nature of the game, John.
Yes, it is. Marion County semifinals tonight over at Southport. Pike and Lawrence North, Ben Davis and Southport. Listen, these are going to be great games, but I just want them to loosen up those rims when I'm playing there on Sunday morning. So that's what I'm looking for.
I thought a shooter like you didn't worry about rims like that.
Tight rims aren't any fun. Tight rims aren't fun.
You're in the twilight of your career.
There's no doubt.
About soft rims.
No doubt. But no, great semifinals at Southport tonight.
No, they really are. Pike has just gone out there, and Bill Zick somehow every year puts together good teams. They're not as big or as quick as they've been in the past. They just go out there and do what you're supposed to do. I think the prohibitive favorite's Ben Davis. Don Carlisle's team is really, really, really good. They're talented, strong, quick, get to the rim. It's hard to score against them. Eric Brand, I think, has a group of guys who have played him tough the first time they played. So, LN is a different group now, obviously without Jack, and they're not as big and strong as they used to be. They maybe tallest starter something like 6'3", 6'4", but they play you. They play well, and they're used to winning. And so semis in the Marion County tourney are always like, regional. type atmosphere and level of play, quite frankly.
Johnson County, you got CG and Whiteland tonight. I believe Greenwood and Franklin are that other semifinal, right. Bob.
Well, since I've lived here for 100 years, it's always fun. Center Grove is just playing great basketball. I mean, Zach Hahn's done a marvelous job with that group, and they've won some close ones. They're playing very, very well. Franklin's struggling right now. Whiteland has shown some flashes of being able to go, but I think Trojans right now might be the prohibitive favorites in this one.
Rest of the schedule tonight, Bob Lovell, Indiana Sports Talk, is going to have all the conversations, all the scores, and all the interviews for you coming up later on tonight for those two semifinals in both Johnson and Marion counties. And then, of course, what's going on around the state. I'm telling you, if there is not, or if you can find a better game than Fischer's in Brownsburg tonight, good luck. That seems like a heck of a matchup over in Hendricks County this evening, Bob.
Oh, it is. I mean, it really is. Brownsburg will guard you. Some incredibly talented perimeter guys who can make shots, get to the rim, make some things happen. Fischer's has played very, very well. They both played tremendous schedules. It's a great game at this particular time of year. I mean, you get a little bit more. You find out a little bit more about yourselves and what you're doing. And we're at a time of the year, John, where we're back in school after the holidays, and you're focusing on basketball. You're making that month and a half run to the tournament. The girls' pairing show, as I mentioned, is Sunday. That seems it's impossible, but Greg Raystro and I are going to be doing that again, thanks to the IHSAA, and we'll be at their headquarters next Sunday from 5 until 7. But it's just insane how this is going, how quickly it's going. And there are still, great girls teams out there, especially here in central Indiana. We're blessed to have some unbelievably talented young ladies. And so I think both tournaments are going to be tremendous.
Yeah, I see G's playing really well. I think is Noblesville still pretty good this year, I believe, right, too? If you go down.
Zionsville's playing awfully well. So you go down that list. That particular section was going to be tremendous. So it's fun. I applaud great hard work of our coaches, the young ladies. This is we talk about a lot of big time power conference programs recruit our boys basketball players. Same thing is true, absolutely true on the girls' side. So people know where they can go to find tremendous student athletes who know the game of basketball.
When I see him, I like to make fun of the fact that Mike Armstrong is back down at Franklin with a pretty good squad down there. Again, I like to make fun of that.
Well, you know what? I've known him as long as you have. He's great. He's great for the game. There's no question. Great for the girls, and not coincidentally, wherever he is, his teams win games.
Right.
And so, same is true. And we're pretty proud of what they're doing right now.
You mentioned Zionsville, Noblesville also on the boys' schedule tonight too. Harrison and Kokomo, Lutheran, Cecina. Down in the southern portion of the state, Lagodian Bar Reeve is always a humdinger. Josh doesn't have the type of team with Bar Reeve this year that he has in recent years. I think Lagodie's even better this year, but that's always a fantastic matchup.
Well, if you're not already there, you're not getting a seat.
Exactly.
You know this. I mean, it's not a cliche. It's the truth. They're both good. They're both made, like you said, Ryan Haywood's kids are playing much, much better at this time of year. Josh has had lost some personnel from graduation, has called them the last couple of years. They're still pretty good. But basketball, that whole section of the state, their sectional will be good. A team that people, it's a Lagodi team that people like. Without North Davies in the picture, opens some things up for people in single A in that part of the state.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Pretty good matchups tonight. Anything else you're going to go over this evening with your myriad of guests and all your sports conversation?
We got some college hoops going on. We got Purdue and Butler playing tonight. Not playing each other, but they're playing. So we got some college basketball to talk about. There's a whole lot going on tonight, John.
Let me tell you this. Butler the other night against St. John's, and I know that it was going to take a minute for Thad to try to cobble this thing together, but It looked like it was a pickup game. in the second half at St. John's. It looked like a pickup game. They were throwing it everywhere, out of bounds, off legs, into backs. I mean, there was a level of discombobulation that you would think, even with new leadership here trying to put something together, may have at least shaken a little bit of that out by the time you get to mid-January.
You know, what struck me most was that he walks into a situation where the talent level is really not that high. And you don't have, in your first recruiting year, you brought in, Manny Bates and others, but you look at the disparity of talent on both ends of the floor. They have a long way to go in terms of, decreasing that margin, if you will, or trying to make it more even in terms of their level of talent and performance. And so, you're on the road playing a St. John's team that's going to come after you defensively. Chuck Harris does what he can do. Manny Bates does what he can do. But you don't have those playmakers that you need throughout your roster. And so I think the rebuild is going to take a little longer than what they might think, quite frankly, unless you get real lucky. But it was a hard game to watch, to be honest.
Yeah, Nebraska. Purdue survived that meeting, first meeting against Nebraska. If you remember, I think I was talking to Matt Painter about it. At one point at the end of the game, Nebraska, I think, had like Moses Malone type of 6 offensive rebounds to extend one possession. It was amazing, and the Boilers sidestepped that tonight. At home, they should, I think, take care of business, certainly. And then to IU tomorrow, IU in Wisconsin. Yeah, you look at IU, especially the way they've looked in the second half against Iowa and the past two, Northwestern and Penn State. This team looks like a group that could use a little bit of life thrown into them by a high-level, high-volume, loud crowd tomorrow. I know it's more than that because it's their level of play, but they need something to juice them up because, as we saw the other night against Penn State, they were juiceless.
Yeah, they were, John, and it's a team that's underperforming without question. I mean, defensively, you look at earlier in the season, they're better than what they've shown the last couple of weeks. They're just in a slump. They're in a funk. I'm not sure what the explanation is. It's just that you've got a situation now where you're playing a really, really difficult league. Same thing with Butler. You have no easy ones on your schedule, no games to get healthy, so to speak. And I think, again, you've got an IU group where the expectations are high, and understandably so. But what they did defensively was really, really, really disappointing in terms of, didn't guard the ball, had no real on-ball defense to speak of, beaten on simple straight-line drives to the rim more than once. Simple concept of closing out shooters seems to have lost them and escaped them, and they paid the price for it. And so we'll see if they learn the lessons in the matchup tomorrow. Because if they don't, they're in a dangerous situation right now.
Yeah,
they got to get themselves turned around rapidly, and I'm not necessarily confident that they can necessarily do it. So certainly will go a long way toward that if they're able to get one tomorrow.
They're absolutely circling the drain. They need a helper big time at home versus Wisconsin tomorrow. Bob Lovell tonight, tomorrow night, Indiana Sports Talk. All those incredible stations that are among the network Indiana affiliated across this great state. Tonight, tomorrow night, Bob, on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline, presented as always by CarX, CarX.com, 14 Central Indiana. Joe Childers are on locations. Again, CarX.com today. Have a great night. Have a great night tomorrow night. We'll do it again next week, Bob. Thank you.
Thanks, John. Thanks for having me.
Bob Lovell right there. Cole's on the other side, and we talked to Desmond Bain of the Grizzlies, if you remember, in the summer. Giving back to his hometown of Richmond has always been a high level of importance. And in terms of how that equates to that matchup with Memphis and the Pacers tomorrow night, we'll get to that story on the other side. Brandon and Garen will lead with the calls as well. Mike Wells, top of the hour. Don Fischer, 5 o'clock hour. Don't go anywhere. Inside the Lounge via YouTube Live or 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Hank Williams Jr. Are you ready for the contract? Live in concert. Yes, sir.
the Bad Boy.
Your boy.
With special guest Old Crow Medicine Show.
Alabama women.
Saturday, June 17th, Ruoff Music Center.
We did a party and I was born to boogie. All my rowdy friends are coming.
On sale now at livenation.com. Part of the Coors Light Concert Series.
It is John here for Lance and his local team at LD Smith Plumbing. Never fear in case you have a plumbing malfunction, an emergency, if you will, because Lance and his incredible local team, the best in the business around here, always have your back. So always have this number handy, 317-927-7186. Also in the memory bank is the fact that nobody is better in plumbing. All of your plumbing needs, not just emergencies, but certainly in your time of need, Lance and his team will be there for you. 317-927-7186. That is the best in plumbing, LD Smith Plumbing. Online, that's ldsmithplumbing.com today.
At Diamonds Direct, we want to make something very clear. We will absolutely beat the price of any comparable diamond that you find anywhere else. No fine print, no disclaimers, just a rock-solid, unqualified, nationwide price guarantee. This goes for 1-carat diamonds as well as 15 and 20-carat diamonds. You see, at Diamonds Direct, we're more than just another jewelry store. We're part of a world diamond powerhouse with direct access to the world's top diamond mines. We have our own diamond cutters, too, so we are active in every aspect of the diamond market every single day, from source to showroom. So when you see a diamond somewhere else, online or in a store, or from some so-called supplier, just know that apples for apples, you will get a better price at Diamonds Direct. Our volume, our connections, our buying power make this possible, and it's why we've never ever lost a sale due to price. So at a time when value means so much, we invite you to take this challenge and let us prove it. Day in and day out, you will always get a better quality diamond at a better price at Diamonds Direct. Diamonds Direct, your love, our passion. Online at diamondsdirect.com.
Hey, Johnny, for Andy Moore Buick GMC. That's my friend Eric Wilson at Indiana's Best, 131 State Road 37, Fischer's, Indiana. The best car buying experience anywhere. Ask about just an incredible ride, both inside and out. The GMC Acadia, the Elevation package. You're going to love it, too. The price tag, the service after the sale, just the entirety of the car buying experience, which is fantastic, and that'll lead you back to more. That'll lead you to tell your friends to more. This will be the one-stop shopping that you're looking for. If you're me and you want to be hassle-free, especially during your car buying experience, this is it. Ask for Eric Wilson at Indiana's Best. Andy Moore Buick GMC, 131st and State Road 37 in Fishers.
Who will earn a playoff spot? Get to your Ultimate Sports Lodge to cheer on your favorite pro football team. The action kicks off Saturday at Twin Peaks at 4:30 as Seattle takes on San Francisco, followed up with San Diego versus Jacksonville at 8:15. Are you a fan of Twin Peaks? Sign up for their e-club to stay up to date on all things Twin Peaks and score free stuff. Signing up is easy. Just go to twinpeaksrestaurant.com/peaks-club to get started today.
Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views.
Hellsberg Diamonds presents The Guy Who Was the MVP. Craig was proposing to his girlfriend and needed the perfect ring, so he asked her friends for some advice.
Get yourself to Hellsberg.
Yep, Craig went to Hellsberg Diamonds. He learned that Hellsberg's been in business for over 100 years. That means quality. And with their price match guarantee, he'd get a great deal and find the perfect ring.
Wow, it's perfect. Oh, yeah.
MVP, most valuable proposer. Be like Craig. Find the ring of her dreams at a Hellsberg Diamonds near you or at hellsberg.com.
Soccer Saturday featuring Indy 11. If this is your football, this is your show. Saturday at 9 on The Fan. The Ride with JMV.
It's called Sex Panther by Odeon. It's illegal in 9 countries.
It's quite pungent. It stings the nostrils.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Golden State and San Antonio playing in the Alamo Dome tonight for the first time in forever. Sean McVay's going back to the Rams. Raheem Morris finished up his conversation and interview with the Colts earlier today, and Jim Irsay sent out a note, a letter, pinned to you, the fans. Quote, I can't stand losing. That sounds like a Police song. And I hate letting down our fans, and we had too much of both last year. But please know this, no one is more unsatisfied than I am. It is time to start doing. Those are my quotes and not his, by the way. Time to start doing. Time to stop writing. Time for us to stop reading. Time for you and those that you trust, and you're number 7, to start doing. The entirety of that letter throughout the Colts social, if you would care to read it in its entirety. 239-1070. Garen is up first today. Hello, Garen.
What is up, JMV?
What is happening in the world of the most educated on Purdue athletics, Purdue fan out there? How you doing?
I was trying to remember last time I called in. It's been a while. Every time I try to call in the fall, either nobody'd pick up or it'd be busy. So I don't even know if I called up during football season. So we might miss the whole day.
Well, start yelling at people around here then. You got to pick up the phone when the most educated about Purdue athletics, Garen, is calling about Purdue athletics. Our bad.
No, it's just, I guess, hoops is on the brain right now. It's crazy how good they've been so quick, but everybody's saying there'd be a step down from last year, just losing the talent of Travion and Ivy and those guys. But, the way Smith plays with just reckless abandon, and as long as they can hit threes like they did second half against Penn State, I really like their chances this year. It will be interesting to see what kind of freshman wall Fletcher and Smith hit at some point. Surely it's coming. But, right now the Big Ten is not great.
No, it's not.
And I like their chances to navigate. And I would think 15-5 wins the conference, and they'll just see what happens in March. But, it's been a fun bunch to watch basketball-wise that when they're clicking, they always go for the extra pass. I'm amazed at how much just the pure outstanding chemistry between Smith and Edey on some of those lob passes. It looks like they've been playing for a couple of years. And then I go back to how in the hell was this guy not recruited, and he's supposedly the 40th best point guard in the class. I don't understand recruiting.
Here's what I gather when I watch them, and then when I talk to Matt about it, I don't know how he has and is going to navigate keeping everybody happy. Know what I mean? And I'm talking about the transfer portal unhappiness, not, I'm not getting enough clock right now unhappiness. I'm just talking about the unhappiness that is sure to come because, these guys are kind of looking at the box score and wondering why, he got 13 minutes and I should get more or something like that. That's what I find fascinating that he's been able to navigate.
They're young enough and it's new enough that really hasn't crept up, but let's say he shortens the rotation to the typical 7 or 8, as he's wont to do. Does that mean Newman and Kaufman-Wren not get minutes? It very well could. I hope they do. I hope they can keep it a 9-man rotation. But that's one of the things that he has excelled at, managing. And I'm hoping to see if they can do it because right now when they play. You compare it to, with Illinois, just a bunch of dudes sulking on the sideline and whining about where their NIL money is. That isn't happening at Purdue right now, and obviously things can change with time.
Yeah, you better knock on wood because I can't imagine that not taking over the world of college athletics. Hey, Garen, have a fantastic weekend. Enjoy the Nebraska-Purdue game tonight, and we'll make sure somebody's going to answer the phone when you call next week.
Sounds good, bud.
So my man Garen, the most educated Purdue fan in Central Indiana. And his education is Purdue athletics. Somewhere my man Kyle Udemark saying, well, I didn't answer the phone. Hey, Brandon, sit tight. We'll get to you coming up next hour as well. Do not go anywhere. Mike Wells of ESPN Radio, Don Fischer in the 5 o'clock hour. Quick break and we'll come back. Jim Irsay sends a letter to the fans. The Pacers get the Hawks tonight. Taven Jackson in the transfer portal. And Sean McVay is back with the Rams. That and more coming at you. Hour 2 straight ahead next.
It has no beginning.
Let's start something special right here, man. Let's go.
And no end.
Look, you got to get your team ready to play.
It is a constant.
Get a rhythm going.
Through every season.
Come back again.
It is always Colts season. Firing, hiring, free agency, the combine, the schedule, the draft, OTAs, minicamp, training camp, kickoff, the offseason. Questions is a season to be answered for this Colts team. The best Colts coverage is on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Anyone who has ever needed self-storage knows what a hassle it can be. You have to rent or borrow a truck and then find someone to help you move your stuff. And let's face it, moving furniture and heavy items without damaging them isn't easy. Renting the unit is worse. The hidden fees and admin costs are scarier than the dingy facilities you're leaving your stuff in. Why not use ClosetBox instead? ClosetBox is self-storage without leaving home. They'll pick up your belongings, store them securely, and bring any item back when you need it. The best part? Unlike traditional self-storage, you only pay for what you store. No paying for unused storage space. ClosetBox's background check storage movers are licensed, bonded, and insured and will take care of all of the heavy lifting. ClosetBox's local storage centers are temperature controlled and monitored 24/7. ClosetBox has an A+ rating from the BBB. Call 877-233-5696 now for the season's best rates. Get $50 off first month storage using code RADIO50. That's 877-233-5696. 877-233-5696.
Culver's could have only started in Wisconsin.
Hi, welcome to Culver's.
Just ask our team member, Sarah.
When you order a Culver's Butterburger, you're never just a customer. You're a guest in our home. See, where we come from, people do right by each other. It's why we cook each Butterburger to order just for you, right down to getting the perfect sear on the beef. That extra care may be a small town thing, but it's big time important to us.
Come on in and let us serve you with a smile that stretches from our hometown to yours. Welcome to Delicious. To everyone who appreciates a fresh meal that comes from the heart, let our team member Emma tell you what's special about the Culver's way.
We take great tasting burgers seriously in Wisconsin. Favorite recipes, fresh ingredients, real Wisconsin cheese. It's a place where traditions matter. So of course it's where Culver's Butterburger was born. Fresh, never frozen beef, seared to perfection, then topped with a lightly buttered toasted bun.
What can we say? To us, it's a whole lot more than a burger. It's a taste of home.
From Wisconsin with love.
Welcome to Delicious.
Bowling, 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 keep them balls a-rolling. Bowling, bowling, bowling. Royal Pin.
The holiday season may be coming to an end, but the fun is just beginning. Make your plans now for a party at any Royal Pin Entertainment Center. Treat your employees to a great time with bowling. Appetizers from chips to heavy hors d'oeuvres, food packages from pizza to prime rib, and a wide range of party options from just bowling to laser tag, limitless VR, go-karts, arcade, and more. You can upgrade with adult beverages, craft beer, premium spirits, and frozen drinks. Want a custom party? Their sales team can make it happen. Reward your team for their hard work. Email events@royalpin.com or visit royalpin.com to book today. That's events@royalpin.com.
Royal Pin, bowling, bowling. Royal Pin, bowling.
You had a solid retirement dream. Sell your home in a few years, bank the equity, downsize, and travel. But inflation and recession has you wondering if all your hard-earned equity will still be there. What if you could recession-proof your equity right now? You can with TrueHold. TrueHold will buy your home for its best current value before a recession can erode it. You get to bank all the cash now and live in your home for as long as you want. And TrueHold covers all property taxes, insurance, repairs, and maintenance. And since TrueHold pays your home's current value in cash now, it's yours to do whatever you'd like. Don't wait for inflation, recession, and interest rates to erode your home's value. Visit TrueHold.com and discover how much TrueHold will buy your home for today, based on its best current value, not what's coming. Call 1-855-300-9993 or visit TrueHold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out on your home's value without having to move. That's TrueHold.com.
Hey, it's JMV, and maintain winter road readiness at your 14 Central Indiana CarX locations. Oil changes, tires, brakes, and more. 14 to serve you. That's CarX.com today.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
WIBC HD2 W298BB. WIBC HD3 W228CX. Indianapolis.
The Pacers welcome the Atlanta Hawks to the Fieldhouse this evening at 6:30 on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
The Ride with JMV.
Wow. I don't know what to say. I guess the only thing I can say is I'll promise to keep rocking and rolling and making better films.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Hey, welcome back. Andy Moore, Automotive Group Hotline. ESPN Radio, former writer covering the Colts. He is our friend, Mike Wells. The Slow Jamboree Entry Friday with Mike. I'm back in studio, Mike. Take it over here.
Oh, let's make it last. Let's make it last forever, ever.
You know what?
Oh, that I love it. Oh, here we go, Jay. Let me hear you tell me you love me. Let me hear you say you'll never leave me. It feels so right.
I got a question for you. Can you make an argument that New Jack Swing is the best of R&B and/or hip-hop? Any form that has kind of branched off from R&B in this case? Can New Jack Swing, especially the late 80s and early 90s, be considered the best of any of those branches?
Without a doubt. I would love for somebody to give me something better than that New Jack Swing era of the Guy, the Keith Sweat, the Jodeci, the Christopher Williams, the Troops. Give me somebody tell me something better than what was going on. And listen, had R. Kelly not turned out to be crazy and doing stupid things, taking advantage of young women, I would put him in that category. But I've banned myself from listening to R. Kelly of songs. But no, that was. And think about it. They transitioned they did that 90s. It started with the New Edition stuff in the 80s.
Yep.
Transitioned to that New Jack Swing. Then you move on to the times of like Jagged Edge and all those guys into the late 90s. That was a hell of a transition period when it came to R&B music.
Yeah, I mean, all of it just was fantastic. You mentioned Troop. Rex and Effect, anything that Teddy Riley was a part of, whether it was Guy or Rex and Effect or Blackstreet, always turned out to be fantastic. I don't think we give it enough credit. That's why we're going to go hang out coming up in March at Cambridge Fieldhouse and watch this right before us, Keith Sweat and Guy and New Edition. And we're going to love it. Can't wait.
I mean, listen, we're coming up on the 2-month mark from it. It seems like it was just 3+ months until we were going to get there. We're at basically near the near point of January. So before we know it, it'll be March 24th because it is creeping up on us, brother.
I'm assuming babies were created while listening to Make It Last Forever a great deal, starting back in late 1987. Think so?
Man, oh my goodness. We got there's a lot of 36, 37-year-old kids right now in the world. And all of a sudden, their mom and daddy think, Keith Sweat comes on, their mom and daddy think, that was my jam back in the day. And the daddy looks at the mama and says, you right about that?
No doubt. Not New Jack. New Jack is awesome, and that show is going to be great too. We're good. We're good to go. I've checked into Dion here, Karen Vaughn, the great J.C. Culver from our North Campus here as well, and we're going to be good to go coming up in late March. It's going to be a blast. I hope we see everybody down there too, man. This is going to be a party.
Hey, speaking of North Campus, have you guys moved yet off the circle, or are you still in the circle?
We're still here. Yeah, this is like the first Friday. I think I've been here one Friday since July. This is the second Friday since July that I've been in studio here on a Friday.
Why are you in studio today? Why aren't you at Twin Peaks or Hooters?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, well, the season ended, and instead of the postseason, you get the letter from Jim Irsay. It's all good, right? It's what we know this team to be right now. No postseason, but a 5-paragraph letter from the Colts owner to the fans about how, to paraphrase here, this ain't happening again kind of stuff, right? So,
hey, at least I would tell you, it beats being in front of the plane talking about all chips in.
Well,
yeah. At least he tamed it down a little bit.
Yeah, I just kind of played off of that. Last year you could be mad, and there was that convenient blame you could place on the shoulders of Carson Wentz, and this year it was just a masterpiece of a mess, and basically it was guided by the owner, right? I mean, it was guided by the owner. A masterpiece of a mess. They are the worst of the worst in the NFL right now.
So you made a great point. Last year, the owner was able to basically blame everything on Carson Wentz. We know Carson was shipped off to the Commanders. If you had to put in your order of blame, who's your top three in order of blame?
Well, I mean, it always starts at the top, and Jim Irsay even said as much today. Starts with him, so it is on him. It is on Chris Ballard. It was on Frank Reich. It's on the coaching staff, and it's on a team that, never said that they lacked any enthusiasm, but it was tough to find it there late in the season. So it starts at the top with this thing, though, especially this year. I mean, getting in there and, cutting those decisions like you did and, forcing the hand of Ellinger. I know these aren't the biggest deals in the world now that you look back on it, because they had so many embarrassing games trying to force in there Matt Ryan and then the Nick Foles games and stuff. But it all starts at the top with this mess. And, now you're going to start out 2023 knowing that a guy in Chris Ballard that has had maybe a handful, I mean, not even a handful, a year or two that have been solid in terms of results. You get another swing at it, and he's going to get a chance to swing at a new coach and, more than likely your quarterback of the future, which seems a little illogical to me, I guess, when you look at it. I don't know about you. It didn't seem right to me. I thought that there was plenty of reason why you should be starting new in the general manager, head coach, and that quarterback capacity, but Jim Irsay chose not to.
Well, listen, I think we've all realized in all our years of being around Jim Irsay is going to do what Jim Irsay wants, whatever Jim Irsay wants to do. That's what's going to happen. And he has. There's a couple things I find an issue with is that routinely Irsay, you can try to track him down toward the end of the season outside the locker room. He's just kind of, outside of his sit down for the Monday night game against the Chargers, he's been silent in talking to the media. I thought after this basically, poo-poo show of a season, he would have talked last Sunday, especially when they lost to the Texans to seal the disastrous season. But he's been quiet, and I would love to hear his explanation. I know he said it tonight that Jeff Saturday was named interim coach on why that Chris Ballard would be the general manager next season. I want to know now officially why that is the case, considering the Colts, I don't think they won another game after they won one game after he made that comment on the night that Saturday was named interim.
It's Mike Wells of ESPN Radio with us on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline, longtime coverer of the Colts and the Pacers. We'll get to the Pacers coming up in a minute, and their new situation, at least for the next couple of weeks, starts tonight against the Hawks at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. What do you think? What conclusion have you drawn as of this time, which would be the best way to move forward as they're looking for a head coach? And then, if you're staked out at number 4 coming up in the spring in that draft in round 1, should they stay there? Should they move up? What do you think they should be doing here this offseason-wise with those two very important decisions?
First, I'm going to work backwards. I think they do whatever it takes to move up to number 1. I think there's a significant difference between, well, first of all, the Houston Texans are going to take whatever quarterback doesn't go number 1, whether it's CJ Stroud or Bryce Young. If I'm the coach, I'm doing whatever it takes to move up to number 1 to take hopefully Bryce Young. I think you can't sit here and say, well, we took the Kentucky kid at number 4, so we addressed the quarterback situation. He's the most unproven of the 3. I think if you're that serious about getting a franchise quarterback, you move up to number 1, try to get Bryce Young. And I know Ballard says he loves his draft picks. This is one time where you say, hey, we will give up draft picks, potentially players, to get that number 1 pick to hopefully solve the revolving door at quarterback.
Yeah.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, here's what's interesting, too, and there's nothing concrete here, but this is just a lot of, I guess you would call it Twitter yip-yapping and I just saw it inside the lounge via YouTube Live. They're talking about it as well, as there's been some conversation, some rumor that CJ Stroud might possibly return to Ohio State. I mean, again, nothing concrete. That's not what I'm sitting here and expecting whatsoever, but that would, I think, throw a wrench into it, because I agree with you, Mike. I think that you want to give yourself all the options here, right? You want to have the most options to move forward with the best quarterback in this draft for the longer-term future, and I think that's what you have to do, pair something up and give something up to Chicago. We'll see if they end up doing that, but CJ Stroud is the guy I like more than anybody else. I like CJ Stroud more than I do Bryce Young, certainly more than I do Will Levis. Maybe that changes with the combine and pro days, but that's how I feel right now. And let's just say, if any of this rumor stuff is true, that would throw a major wrench, you would have to think, into things.
Holy cow! Because then you're competing against the Texans for that number one pick. You're competing against them because it's obvious they need a quarterback too. Yeah, if CJ Stroud were to stay at Ohio State, man, I'm happy. I would be happy if I'm the Chicago Bears that Stroud stays, because they're going to be able to sit there and hold that pick as ransom and get whatever the hell they want out of it. Why do you like Stroud better than Bryce Young?
And again, I've said this, and there's not a great deal of experience of seeing him do what he did against Georgia, but it's basically that game. And it's unfair of me to make that judgment, like it's unfair of me to make that judgment, I think, with Will Levis in mind against teams like Georgia this past year when he watched him. But the way I watched Stroud against Georgia in that game, against what is a top-notch, as we saw, back-to-back national championship team, and even though they lost all of that defensive talent to the draft, still a high-caliber, high-quality defense, moving around, making pinpoint throws. And again, you can make the argument, best wide receivers in the country he has at Ohio State. People want to argue Ohio State quarterbacks, historically speaking, don't make a high impact at the NFL. All that could be true, but when I watched him against Georgia, I absolutely loved what I watched, and I thought that would fit together with all these needs this Colts team has at quarterback like a glove.
Yeah, so the reason why I'm leery of Stroud, props to him. Again, what he did against Georgia, props to him. I'm basing it off the history of Ohio State quarterbacks. I'm like, when is the last time Ohio State has gotten a quarterback that has really, really done things? And that's a legitimate question. I'm not being a smart ass off of it. I'm just curious. I can't think off the top of my head when's Ohio State.
Well, everybody's leaning on Justin Fields now, for example. So everybody's leaning on him. That's most recent. Yeah. But no, I mean, listen, there's no doubt of history. I'm just looking in the now. I'm looking at this guy in the now, and for what you need in this draft, as far as his skill set, from what I saw, I think against a great example, the closest example you're going to see to NFL caliber talent, I thought he was fantastic. So, I mean, you can make an argument about Bryce Young. There's nothing against him at all. I mean, he's obviously navigated through the SEC. He's still right there, too. But I like Stroud more than anybody right now.
Yeah. Hey, what about on the head coaches? We've seen the names who have interviewed already. I got to tell you, this is what bothers me. Bubba Ventrone gets the interview, in-house candidate. I just baffled on why he didn't get the interim job in the first place.
Yeah, because the owner wanted Jeff Saturday. Yeah, that's why. Yep.
Yeah, the owner wanted, but then if I'm Bubba, I'm like, hold on. I know I want to be a head coach in the NFL, but you wouldn't even give me the interim job?
Yeah, he probably not saying that because he's Bubba Ventrone, the special teams coach, and Jim Irsay's the owner. But no, I mean, there was no chance because the reason why they made that move, that's what Jim Irsay wanted at that moment, and nobody was going to change his mind, including Chris Ballard.
God, man, that just on the outside looking in, I'm just like, that's screwed up. You didn't want to give him the job because the owner, like you said, wanted Saturday. But now you're saying, okay, yeah, Bubba, we think you're, potentially could be head coaching. You could be potential head coach for us. So we'll let you interview.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to look at it. I don't know if you look at it like, well, at least you know now that by the results that he's not the guy. Or I don't know if you look at it right now thinking, well, this team was going to be crap anyway. Look what he had to deal with being thrown in that. How do you know that he's not the guy considering what he had to deal with? And I know more people are siding against he's not the guy, but I think you can make arguments on both sides of that. And again, if you're Jim Irsay and you wanted to see Jeff Saturday coach long term, and I mean next year, if you're going to go ahead and pull that rabbit out of your hat in the offseason, that's when you should have done it instead of doing it during the midseason and watch all this stuff get flushed right down the toilet and then the court of public opinion completely turn against Jeff Saturday, which clearly has happened.
Yeah. Oh, my God. If for some reason Irsay, if Ballard says, okay, Jeff Saturday's not the guy, and Irsay says, hey, we're going to make him a long-term answer, man, Lucas Oil Stadium could be pretty damn empty next season. And I think, in my opinion, I don't think how the fans will say, okay, yeah, we're going to come support this team outside of a complete, roster overhaul, the upgrades and keep the key positions where fans want to come out and support the Colts, if that were to happen. So Mike Wells of ESPN Radio, friend of the show, longtime coverer of the Colts. Get to the Pacers coming up in a minute. You mentioned the coach, and you started to ask who I liked, and I've been kind of obvious with this. It is certainly, to me, the hard target of Jim Harbaugh. I kind of feel like I'm just kind of sitting on an island and hoping that I hear something about Harbaugh, like Tom Hanks, and get rescued here, and it's just simply not going to happen. You hear a bit and a piece, like Jeremy Fowler had something, and you wonder if the Colts had any interest whatsoever. My God, with the way that leakage happens right now among NFL circles, wouldn't we've already heard about it a little bit? It just seems like either they haven't talked yet, anything legitimately, or this is like one of the best kept secrets around here of all time, and I would probably go with that first choice there, to be honest. It just doesn't seem like that there's much there. Maybe I'm hoping a little bit too much. Yeah, I don't think there's much. I would have to think that there's not much there, especially based off the fact of, first of all, Harbaugh's not doing anything right now, maybe outside of if they're allowed to recruit or whatever, try to get some kids in the transfer portal, and the Colts are announcing when they have conduct interviews, and it has been straight crickets on that front of things right now. You're not hearing a peep about Jim Harbaugh when it comes to the Colts and the head coaching search. And so, why you just think Harbaugh's the best candidate? Do you think I think he's the absolute best for this situation. This situation requires a lot. It requires a good coach with a stern hand, somebody that I think has had results at the NFL level, and maybe most importantly in all of this, at least to me, somebody that the owner would trust to get the hell up out of the way and fade into the background and let that coach, and I'm assuming his general manager being Chris Ballard, do their work and not meddle, not intervene as he did this past year. I think Jim Harbaugh brings all of those above qualifications to what is just an incredible mess here. Yeah, he does. Because, correct me if I'm wrong, did Harbaugh do anything in the front office with the 49ers, or was he strictly just a head coach? Well, he got in a fight with Trent Baalke, I think, while he was there. I think they had a bit of a back and forth, and that didn't go well. So don't get me wrong, he's going to have a shelf life. We know a lot of coaches, especially those that are hardcore and maybe in this case a little bit wacky. He's going to have a shelf life. I just consider Jim Harbaugh what is best suited head coaching wise for this team right now. And that's nothing against, a guy like Ben Johnson, who's an offensive coordinator and supposed to be this incredible smart guy and a future great head coach, or nothing against the guy that's already done it once at a very young age. Raheem Morris, the defensive coordinator of the Rams. Eric Bieniemy, who has yet to be given a shot. With all those great results in Kansas City as the OC, never had a shot. Nothing against those guys. I'm just talking about the qualifications that is necessary to get through this absolute mess right now as a head coach. I think Jim Harbaugh, and I hate saying checking the boxes of it all, but I think he is the guy that is qualified for each and every category that's necessary. Yeah, you just gave a hell of a sales pitch on why he would fit in. It's very unfortunate, especially the fact that Ballard said on Tuesday that this coaching search could take a while, potentially. That he does not. I would interview as many people as possible to make sure you don't make it too clumsy, because this franchise is at a point that it has not seen in who knows how long, and they cannot afford to continue to fumble, bumble, and stumble along the way. after what has happened the last couple of years.
And no doubt people around here are tired of it. And, you get the letter sent from Jim Irsay with, I'm sure, the greatest of intentions, but people just go, oh, great, another video. Oh, great, another letter. Oh, wait a minute, we only really heard from you after the last time, that you won. We only hear from you from the good times, and now, here's the letter about I'm going to tirelessly, give effort. I just, to me, I'm not suggesting that everything I say is right. I just think I am certainly right as far as what is necessary here as a head coach. So, and disappointed that, you pin that letter, Mike. You pin that letter and talk about what is going on with your organization, but you keep hanging around the general manager that has been an integral part of this for the past 6 years. It seems like that it's a bit of a mixed message with the fans out there, to say the least.
Yeah, boy, I can't wait for that press conference when they announce the new head coach, and somebody in the media asked Jim Irsay why Chris Ballard is still general manager, because I got to give some of the media props. I listened to the press conference, bits and pieces of it, on a Tuesday, and the Zach Keefers and stuff. Those guys really. They were not trying to let Chris Ballard off the hook easily on what was going on. So I give them credit for pressing the issue, and I'm sure they'll ask the same question once the new head coach is named.
Well, Chris was savvy and calculated. That's what when the first thing, and I mean, there was nothing else to say. But when you come out and say I have failed, I mean, you take a little bit of the juice of those harsher question possibilities out of the mix when you come out of the gate and you say that. And that is what a savvy talker does, for lack of a better description. That's exactly what he did Tuesday.
Yeah. That was very well played when he said I failed.
Yeah.
He knew what the hell he was doing right there. Matt Conti and the boys did a great job making sure he was very well situated to prepare for that, for what was going to be coming.
All right, Pacers moving forward at least for the next 2 weeks, Mike, without Tyrese Haliburton.
Oh man!
All right, I haven't seen yet. I don't know about Miles back. Get rid of those back spasms. Get our guy back in the lineup tonight against Atlanta. 2 weeks, or the better part of 2 weeks. Hopefully it is on the short end of that and everything is okay. Without Tyrese Haliburton, how do you think this thing is going to look?
Man, I don't know. I don't know, because the thing is, what were the Pacers down, 25 or so to the Knicks the other night? And then they made it interesting in the fourth quarter.
Right.
Their effort is going to allow them to win some games that probably some people don't think they would win without Haliburton and stuff. But I think when it's all said and done, it's gonna be a struggle for them to try to stay afloat for these next 2 weeks. But you never know, because I think the one thing we've seen about this Pacer team is that they are scrappy. They will compete no matter what. They're not going to quit, and there's not going to be too many nights where they have the type of performance where you're like, these boys just didn't show up.
Here's the problem that you have, and believe me, you're going to have this issue with or without Tyrese Haliburton, but it's certainly more magnified without him. Atlanta tonight, which is an absolute must to get them, as you did a couple of weeks ago here. You get Memphis tomorrow night, which is going to be beyond tough. And then you go on the road for 4 at Milwaukee, which, by the way, I get to take a break on Monday because that's an afternoon affair on Martin Luther King Jr. Day. So I'm going to get a break, and they're going to play Milwaukee in Milwaukee on Monday. OKC that scores a buttload of points. They are all offense all the time. And then Denver and Phoenix after that on the road. That is a tough look right there, Mike.
Yeah, and OKC went into Philly and put up,
they did.
I think 133 last night against the 76ers. So the Pacers are better play some defense. And you talk about, not that there's ever a good time for a good player to get injured, but this is not a good time for a good player to get injured. But again, 6 tough games. Atlanta's trying to stay in the mix of things. But I think they'll find a way to win some that we probably think they're going to lose, especially on that 4-game road trip.
Gilgeous Alexander for OKC put up 37 last night, too. He's a scoring machine. They just put up big numbers offensively.
Yeah,
and you don't know like 5 guys on their team either. That's the other aspect.
Well, and that's what I was about to say. Everybody forgot about OKC once he started cleaning house. Got rid of Westbrook, and then Paul left. Everybody forgot about OKC, but what's my boy's name? The GM, Presley?
Yeah, Sam Presti. Yeah, he's got 1,000 draft picks in the first round coming up in the next 7 years.
Yeah, he finds a way to get things and make things to try to keep OKC in the mix. And like you said, we know the game. People will watch you if you're going to score a lot of points. If you suck still, people will watch you if you score a lot of points.
Yeah, they have, at least this season, offensively speaking, have turned it into a more than decent watch to do that. I mentioned Gilgeous Alexander, Josh Giddey. I think he was a second-year young player, about 20 out of Australia. Yeah, they look really good in actually thumping the 76ers with Joel Embiid, by the way, in the lineup last night. Got that done. All right, go ahead.
20-point win, man. A 20-point win.
Yeah, impressive. What you got going on this weekend? How's my girl?
Man, she's doing good. Good start to the middle school season. Shout out to the Brownsburg East Middle School girls. Off to a 4-0 start. Man, hey, you got the JMV takeover tomorrow night, man?
I do.
Man, normally I try to catch you off and on if I'm in the car. We're going head-to-head tomorrow night, brother.
What's happening?
We're going.
Oh, wait a minute! You on ESPN Radio tomorrow night?
I'm on ESPN Radio from 7 to 10 tomorrow night. So we're going head-to-head, and those who love the music will be listening to music, and hopefully those who love sports will be chiming in and listening to me on Sirius XM channel 80.
What would the lovely Layla be listening to?
Well, listen, it depends on the days. Well, usually she's mad at me these days, so she's taking the homie JMV 6 out of 7 days a week.
Yeah.
Tomorrow will probably be one of those days where she rolls with you because she is all about JMV, and she cannot wait to see Laney and Grace and Kennedy and the crew on January 30th here in Brownsburg.
Oh, yeah. That's coming up, too. I think we're 2-0, I think. They played last night at Lyndhurst. Well, the Lyndhurst Middle School that feeds into Ben Davis, I think. So
nice. I bet yes. Listen, she was upset when they played the other Center Road Middle School last Saturday that it wasn't the Laney and the crew. She thought it was going to be them, but hopefully it's a 5:30 game. I know you're on the air.
Yeah.
Can we talk to the bosses to see if you can take the night off?
I don't know.
And swing on over to Brownsburg.
Some days it may be better off if I'm here.
Well, trust me. If Laney is listening right now, I'm pretty darn sure she's telling me to shut up and say I want my dad at work.
You leave him at work. I don't need to hear after a missed shot. Maybe you ought to take Laney to the eye doctor after this game. She doesn't want to hear that. Yeah, I think you need glasses. You know, and then she is so awesome. I was playing, and I actually took her to the gym for an open gym, and I shot one and missed. And she said, I think you need glasses. And it was just such a great get back to me. I love it. I love it when she gives it right back.
I love me some Laney, but hey, brother, have a great weekend, man, and enjoy. Actually, you know what? Enjoy the 3-day weekend.
Yeah, and ESPN Radio for Mike Wells tomorrow night nationally. ESPN Radio.
Yes, sir, brother. You have a good one. I'll talk to you next week.
You too, Mike. Mike Wells, ESPN Radio tomorrow night on ESPN Radio. Head to head with me on the JMV Takeover. What you got? What you got tomorrow night? I'm feeling a little New Jack swing tomorrow night. I'm kind of feeling that right now. Quick break, we'll come back. Brandon, you'll start. Caleb's on the other side. And anybody else at 239-1070, if you want to jump in here. Cannot wait to hear from you. Pacers-Hawks, pregame 6:30. Nothing yet on Miles from what I have seen. Well, we know that there's going to be no Tyrese Haliburton. Last words at 6 o'clock, Indiana Sports Talk. After that, in studio, your calls and voice of the Hoosiers, Don Fischer. IU's got a big one at home against Wisconsin tomorrow. Don Fischer talks with us top of the hour. 93.5, 107.5 The Fan.
So, the other day, I bought an extremely chatty...
Boring story time!
Make that an extremely catty cockatoo.
You're welcome!
Apparently, the pet store won't take it back. But, hey, I'll manage.
I love that for you!
just like I manage without home internet.
No, you don't.
Sure, my mobile hotspot is slow and makes streaming shows unbearable.
Aw, Bertie likes to stream.
But I'm making do. Oh no, who's this?
My lady friend. It's mating season, duh.
No home internet? It's not that bad. No, not there.
It is that bad. Don't settle. Switch to Xfinity and get one line of unlimited mobile and home internet together for $50 a month for 12 months with no annual contract. Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit your local Xfinity store today. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account, equipment tax, and fees extra. Reduced speeds after 20 gigabytes of data usage. Offer ends 3/21/23.
You know, I think about this in my house all the time. Living comfortably when the temperatures drop and thanking those that provide that for me. JMV here for the absolute best. John and Chris Love at Love Heating and Air. They came out with a little systems analyst work, a little checkup before the winter started, and I am feeling warm and comfortable in my home, and you can too. And especially now, you've had a moment. You've had a minute to evaluate how this system was working. And if you think that it's not doing the job that it should, call that 317-353-2141 number and get the best out there to make sure you're like me, warm and comfortable in your home with John and Chris Love at Love Heating and Air. 317-353-2141. That's online, love-hvac.com today.
Hey, Indy. Tim Pearson here, founder of Chattanooga Whiskey, the only Tennessee high malt. Instead of me trying to describe the unique and bold character of Chattanooga Whiskey Cask 111, in the words of a random customer review, tastes like a chocolate malt ball and dark fruit. Reminds me of a dark, sweet cereal dessert. Thank you, random customer reviewer. But don't just take their word for it. Try it for yourself. Maybe Chattanooga Whiskey Cask 111 will be your new evening dessert. Drink Chattanooga Whiskey. Enjoy responsibly.
Hank Williams Jr. Are you ready for the contract? Live in concert.
It's a family tradition.
The Bad Boy. With special guest Old Crow Medicine Show.
Alabama women.
Saturday, June 17th. Ruoff Music Center.
We need a party and I was born to boogie. All my ratty friends are coming.
On sale now at livenation.com. Part of the Coors Light Concert Series.
Knockouts Haircuts for Men is the new place to trust with your hair care and grooming. Knockouts is a high-end full-service salon for men. They pamper you while you relax and enjoy a precision cut. Top-notch stylists and barbers. Every style. Cuts, fades, all hair types. Beard care, color, and waxing available. At Knockouts, get a complimentary beverage with any service. Knockouts Haircuts for Men. 2 Indy locations. US 36 in Avon next to Tropical Smoothie Cafe. And Clearwater Keystone next to Drake's. Walk-ins welcome. Or appointments at 288-0007 or knockouts.com.
I was just looking around the house earlier today, and I thought, you know what? I cannot wait to get the best inside to do some work that has long been ignored in my joints with my friends Jason Gedham and Gedham Associates. JMV here for Gedham Associates. Interior, exterior of 2023 is the year where you're like me and you're going to get some things upgraded for the better good of the in and the out of your home, whether it's kitchens and baths, maybe even a screened-in porch, so much more. Go with the absolute best. That's Jason Gedham and Gedham Associates. 35 years of experience serving Central Indiana. They will help you like they're going to help me. I cannot wait for that. If now is the time for you, make sure you go with the best. That's Gedham Associates online at Gedham.com today. That's GETTUM.com. Tell them JMV sent you.
Hey, it's Dan Dockich for Affinity Whole Health. Guys, do something for yourselves. Go to feelgreatindy.com. I'm on a testosterone replacement program with Affinity. Let me tell you, the benefits are amazing. Go to feelgreatindy.com. That's feelgreatindy.com.
Join Mark Patrick seminars and lose the weight guaranteed, only $49.99. Also, stop smoking with Mark Patrick. This hypnosis is designed to destroy your desire to smoke without cravings, irritability, weight gain, or your money back. Seminars Thursday, January 19th at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites in Noblesville. Weight loss 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking 8 p.m. And Saturday, January 21st at the Holiday Inn Indianapolis Airport. Weight loss 11 a.m. Stop smoking 2 p.m. Register at markpatrickseminars.com. The Butler Bulldogs host Villanova this Friday and Creighton on Tuesday the 17th. 7 p.m. tip-off both nights. Visit butlersports.com/buy tickets and get to Hinkle for Big East play.
Be ready for snow at the Mower Shop and Fischer's with a gas or electric Toro snowblower and prepare for mowing season with discounts on select Spartan mowers. 317-849-9500 and themowershop.com.
The Ride with JMV.
I want you out in front of the school with her. I'd like to have a few words with you, by God.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Hey, welcome back, Mike Wells. Bob Lovell podcast, 1075thefan.com. Who sent me this instant request here as a reentry song? It is JT. How about a little Brian McKnight? I did not go with 6, 8, 12. I actually went with Anytime. My bad. I should have read that better. I'll do that for the, as you ask here, the Mike Wells reentry next Friday. A little Brian McKnight for you right there. Indy back on the south side tomorrow night, 24th ranked Hounds 13-2, 5-2 versus the 11th ranked Missouri St. Louis squad that's 14-1 and 6-1. We talked to Paul Casaro earlier in the week about that. That's some awesome basketball there on the south side. It's Indy. Rex Hampton writes this: the Colts announcing every interview seems to be overcompensating for the blowback they receive for picking Saturday off the set of ESPN without promoting from within or running through a process. I still think it's going to be Harbaugh. I'm telling you, we may be on that island alone. At least you can join me, Rex. Because it's that sliver from Jeremy Fowler a couple of days ago. And I think other than that is combined with my hope of what I believe is absolutely necessary and what is the best solution moving forward at head coach for the Colts that seemingly has no traction whatsoever. I'm hanging on to something that nobody is talking about, and it doesn't sound like anything is there. We shall see, Rex. Brandon is at 239-1070. Brandon, welcome to the show.
How you doing, JMV?
Great. Thanks for the call.
Hey, two things real quick. Just wanted to say first, shout out to my Boilers and the basketball team. Heck of a season so far. Very surprising. And one of the more fun seasons I've ever watched. Just had to give them a little shout out there.
You got it.
And second of all, this is beating a dead horse, but I haven't said it yet. And I'm hoping maybe after you can give me a positive outlook of some sort, because it's already given me pretty negative ideas about next season. But how in the world can Jim Irsay walk into the stadium next year and look fans in the face when Ballard is still the general manager of this team? Did he not put it together? Is he not the one who scoffed at everyone who questioned things? Was he not in charge? If anything, I feel as if he should have been the one before Reich. I just don't understand. So I'm hoping maybe you can clarify.
No. Yeah, it is the all right. It is the trust that he still clearly has with Ballard. Now, you could make, I think, more of a slight side argument that maybe, like when I say, let's go ahead and clear the board completely. General manager, head coach, future long-term quarterback, drafting, just do it all in 1 year. Maybe that would be too much. Maybe they feel that that's too much. Maybe they feel that they absolutely need the input on this with the other two decisions in mind from Ballard. Again, that is a small percentage, I think, side argument that you can certainly have. But altogether, it's because Jim Irsay still has a high level of trust in Ballard.
And I guess maybe I'd feel better about it if it was just kind of a regular turnover, disappointing season. But this is a pick a future quarterback, like you've said.
Yes.
I mean, this is a big off season. And what has he shown that shows I'm the guy that should make these choices for the next, could be 10 years.
Yeah. Seriously, if you're looking at the body of work, or as we often mention now, results, they are not there. And a lot of these arguments as to why, or excuses as to why, certainly by now should have timed out.
Yeah.
What else you got?
Well, nothing, JMV. Appreciate you taking my call. Love
Brandon, you call anytime. Thank you very much. Wait, Andrew Barrett, what? My Uber driver tomorrow night's not going to be tuned into me? Come on, man. I'll give you updates on that stuff. Got to have my Uber drivers out there. Here's what I love on Saturday night. I'll give you a great example. So somebody tweeted at me last Saturday night and said, hey, I just walked into a Huck's convenience store in Hope, Indiana. and they had you blasting away on the JMV takeover. That's what I love to hear. So let me tell you this. Bad signal out to everybody listening tomorrow night. If you walk into a place and they're rocking the show, the JMV takeover tomorrow night, please find a way to tell me. Twitter is the best. At JMV 1070, or if you are working somewhere tomorrow night and you want me to give some love to wherever you're working, please feel free to tweet me, and I will give you that particular love. I absolutely love hearing from you, especially like that on a Saturday night. Also, deep down inside, I think you all know this. I'm a big fan of Huck's convenience stores. Huck's and Casey's are kind of right up there. Big fan of Huck's. Yeah, somebody had asked me about the CJ Stroud rumor that he is considering going back to Ohio State. I saw my man Litzy jump in here. Ohio State pays better. Wahlberg's giving lots of money to pay that Lloyd's of London insurance policy. Stroud is the real deal, faster than everyone thinks, has size, and is smart. That NIL money going to be better at Ohio State for one more year? Again, I haven't seen anything concrete, but that is a rumor that is floating around right now. Caleb is next, 239-1070. Caleb, welcome to the show.
Hey, what's going on, JMV?
Good to hear from you. Go ahead.
Yeah, actually, I sat on here for 20 minutes before you derailed me a minute before I went to go get on about the CJ Stroud returning rumors. So I just got one question for you. If he does indeed return, does that make them trading up to one even more of a focus, or where do they go from there?
I don't know. I don't even know if they're hard targeting at all Stroud. That's just me. That's not necessarily them. They may love Levis. Love it at Levitt's used to be a phrase back here for Levitt stores, if you remember that. But they may love him. They may love somebody else. They may not even consider until a later round a quarterback, and everybody will freak out. I don't know what they're thinking. That's just my thought. That would certainly recalibrate my thinking without question. And I'm assuming that everybody else that has a stake in a quarterback would feel the same way.
So do you think they would have to beat up them if it was you?
What's that? I'm sorry.
Do you think they would have to trade up? If you were Chris Ballard, would you then trade up?
I think it would be even. That pick at number one, you're thinking how much it's going to take right now with two options. Consider how much it would take to get up there now from a Bears standpoint if you were trying to get at one. I mean, if you're Houston, or if you're maybe New Orleans or any other team that's trying to get up there, that would make that pick even more valuable for Ryan Poles in Chicago. Yeah, that'd be a lot tougher. I don't know if the Colts would have nearly enough. I'm questioning whether or not they have enough ammo to get up there now. If they wanted to get up there now, I couldn't imagine that they would if you really higher dollar, higher value that pick if something like that happens with Stroud.
Most definitely appreciate it.
Caleb, you call anytime. Have a great weekend. I see this from Zach Hicks. Zach Hicks covers the Colts. Todd Meyer, have a great weekend. He tweets this: I am all for NIL getting these dudes paid, but Stroud could lose millions if he goes back and doesn't take another step toward the NFL. Declare, lock up millions, and get into the NFL situation as an early draft pick. This was from Mike Renner about 30 minutes ago. Draft analyst from PFF says, with whispers of CJ Stroud returning for NIL money, here's the signing bonuses by pick number, I should say, from 2022. Number 1, 24.3. Number 5, 19.9. How much money would he have to get paid to want to return? 12.1. Number 10. 7.4, number 20, number 33, 3.9, number 50, 2.3. Find out if any of those rumors turn out to be true. Dakota Bill, other side calls. Don Fischer, voice of the Hoosiers, top of the hour. Don't go anywhere. 93.5, 107.5, The Fan.
When it's a new year, I like to think about jewelry in a new way. I'm a Shane Company jewelry consultant, and I love how one piece of jewelry can hold so much meaning. It can mark a moment, symbolize a new adventure, or simply remind you of a personal goal. At Shane Company, our jewelry is created with an artisan's eye and a master jeweler's touch. We design it ourselves and offer a free lifetime warranty. With styles in every price range, it'll be easy and fun to find something that's meaningful to you. Have you seen our peach morganite jewelry set in our signature shade of rose gold? It's gorgeous, a reflection of how you'll feel wearing it. The butterfly is a symbol of hope and transformation, and our butterfly necklace shines with vibrant sapphires and diamonds. Opals are believed to promote creativity, and Shane Company opals are chosen for their mesmerizing colors. Come in and try on anything that catches your eye. Find something beautiful that's an expression of you.
Now you have a friend in the jewelry business. Shane Company and ShaneCo.com.
Love my friends from Forum Credit Union with the branch locations and online at forumcu.com for a variety of reasons. And here's just one of those right here. JMV for Forum Credit Union. I love this because Forum Credit Union, as I get older, they are helping make that plan for these life milestones, these moments, these unexpected events, right? So you can meet their team of wealth advisors and learn more about financial planning at forumcu.com. That's just one of the myriad of things they do to help you save, to help you budget better. And believe me, we're all in a financial position right now where you need to be better. You need to upgrade your game. That's done best with my friends at Forum Credit Union. Again, stop by a branch location today or right now. All the info you need. That's forumcu.com.
Culver's could have only started in Wisconsin.
Hi, welcome to Culver's.
Just ask our team member, Sarah.
When you order a Culver's Butterburger, you're never just a customer. You're a guest in our home. See, where we come from, people do right by each other. It's why we cook each Butterburger to order just for you, right down to getting the perfect sear on the beef. That extra care may be a small town thing, but it's big time important to us.
Come on in and let us serve you with a smile that stretches from our hometown to yours. Welcome to Delicious. To everyone who appreciates a fresh meal that comes from the heart, let our team member Emma tell you what's special about the Culver's Way.
We take great tasting burgers seriously in Wisconsin. Favorite recipes, fresh ingredients, real Wisconsin cheese. It's a place where traditions matter. So of course it's where Culver's Butterburger was born. Fresh, never frozen beef, seared to perfection, then topped with a lightly buttered toasted bun.
What can we say? To us, it's a whole lot more than a burger. It's a taste of home.
From Wisconsin with love.
Welcome to Delicious.
When you hear Diamonds Direct, it's not just a catchy name designed to give the illusion of value. Our name is who we really are. Diamonds Direct was started by diamond cutters a quarter of a century ago. At our very core is a commitment to cut out the middleman and deliver extreme value in exquisite diamonds. Today, that's more true than ever, with our direct access to diamonds straight from the mines. Diamonds that we then cut and polish. Exquisite diamonds up to 15 and 20 carats in all shapes and sizes. It's an advantage other jewelers only dream of. By overseeing the entire process, we know for a fact Diamonds Direct is truly direct. So this year, as value becomes more important than ever, rest assured that Diamonds Direct's unique status in the world diamond market guarantees you the best no middleman direct importer price, period. And even with this extreme value promise, at Diamonds Direct you still get an unbeatable selection, transparent education, a luxurious shopping experience, superior customer service, no compromises. It's not having a cool name or clever advertising, it's the truth. Diamonds Direct, your love, our passion.
Life's full of unexpected joys, like problems with water. That's why there's Michaelis, a crew of 24/7 experts who are rescue ready, day or night, one phone call, for a gazillion disasters, from frozen pipes and sewer backups to your teenager pleading ignorance on the proper use of a plunger. At Michaelis, they know that water damage waits for no one. Their fleet of trucks is, well, fleet. Over 3 decades of finding the source of the problem, then cleaning up, drying out, and restoring your home or business to better than new condition. That's Michaelis, fully licensed and insured, and fully empathetic to your anxiety, including dealing with insurance claims. Water, storms, fire, and foundations. Life happens. Michaelis happens to help you through it. Call 844-FIX-INDY. Make it Michaelis.
Right now, you can get free carpet installation from the Home Depot. So while we're putting in your new carpet, you'll have more time to take care of the lawn. Get started on dinner. Or just lay down and relax on your new carpet after it's installed. Get your free carpet installation started with the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Minimum purchase of $4.99. Exclusions apply. U.S. only. See store for details.
Pick up USA Fitness Noblesville for your New Year's resolutions in 23. Basketball and state-of-the-art workout equipment near 146 and 37. Find them on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok.
Soccer Saturday featuring Indy 11. If this is your football, this is your show. Saturday at 9 on The Fan. The Ride with JMV.
It takes him a second to get on the stool because he's under 5 feet tall.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
And wherever you're going tonight, thank you very much for tuning in. High school games tonight. Marion County semifinals down at Southport. Johnson County semifinals. Oh, you got big ones tonight. Fisher's Brownsburg, I think, this evening, too. Last night, number 6 Indiana on the women's side knocked off number 9 Maryland. And I've said this before on Twitter and actually said this on the show. I think Grace Berger is an absolute badass. Big fan of Sydney Parrish, too. Her father's, obviously Sean Parrish, that played at Owen Valley, played collegiately at Ball State with that team at Ball State that nearly knocked off UNLV in 1990. That aside, though, I'm going to get the badass on the show coming up, I believe, on Tuesday or Wednesday. I think Grace Berger is going to come on. We'll talk about Grace Berger as the player and her IU women's team. This has been a long time coming. I admire. She is just tough as nails, and I love it. So we're going to get Grace on the show coming up either Tuesday or Wednesday of next week. Bill is next at 239-1070. Hello, Bill.
How we doing?
Fantastic. What's up?
Hey, man, great show as always. But actually, you kind of beat me to the punch like the previous caller, too. I was just going to comment about the rumor about CJ. And let me preface that with saying I've been all on board with, hey, let's do what we got to do to get the number 1 pick. Tired of the retread quarterback stuff and all that. I'm with you. I wanted Ballard gone as well. But I thought about this yesterday, and my question is, especially now with Stroud, whoever knows what he's going to do, but the rumors that Lamar Jackson is not happy in Baltimore, that he might be out there. I know it cost a lot of money, but would that one be worth the retread?
Yeah, I don't think that they would have enough nor be in the game. I think they have their mind set on restarting it long-term at quarterback with whomever they end up liking in this draft.
I agree with you, and I think it's probably Stroud if it's between him and Young, but when Lamar Jackson's name's out there, you got to at least kick the tires, you think, or no?
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to do any veteran quarterback via trade tire kicking this year. I think they've kicked enough tires. I think they're done with that. Now, again,
100%.
I'm not suggesting here, Bill, maybe something goes haywire and maybe Stroud, this rumor is true. I doubt it, but that would shake up everything at that position in this draft, really no matter where you're going to pick unless you're picking number 1 and like Bryce Young. So Maybe if something like that happens, but I can't imagine. I think hardcore at whom they like in this draft, who they target in this draft to lead them in the future is what they're going to do.
I absolutely agree. Hey, man, thanks for the time. Great show.
Bill, have a great weekend. Dakota, before the top of the hour break, you're on the show. Hello.
Hi, how's it going?
Great, Dakota. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good. So I read something earlier in the week from Ballard. Somebody had asked him what he will do to get that franchise quarterback, and his response was, I will do anything. So is that him saying, do you think that he's actually going to go trade up for that first pick, or is he just blowing smoke out there?
He's just saying we're going to do what we have to do to get who we like, is what he was saying. That's how I took it on Tuesday.
That's what I was thinking, because I don't think he's going to move up to that number 1 pick. Because we don't. What do we offer for that number 1 pick at this point?
Yeah, I listen. I want them to go and go up and get it. I want them to have the most options on the board. It just, with the competition they're going to have and the price tag that Chicago is going to want, I don't know if they're going to be able to get it done. And then if this Stroud rumor, which probably isn't true, but let's just say, for example, for the sake of the argument, it turns out to be true, then I don't think there's any way, because then all of a sudden the value of that Chicago pick goes even higher and the competition gets even stiffer. So then I don't think there's any way. But it would be tough anyway. So we'll see what they do it for.
Yeah, most definitely. And do you like Levis, or is it pretty much CJ Stroud?
I've been pretty much Stroud, and I've apologized for. So the games I've seen of Levis, they haven't been impressive, and I'm going on a very small sample size. Maybe he's a lot better than the games that I have seen. But, this past year, there wasn't much of an impression there. People tell me that he didn't have much to work with offensively at Kentucky. Maybe that's the case. I probably have not given enough credit, certainly. But he's going to be, I think, logically the third quarterback taken off the board if Stroud is still involved in this.
Yeah, I'm with you. Yep. See, I think Stroud or nobody else.
Hey, Dakota, have a great weekend. Thank you for the call.
Yeah, you too.
All right, 239-1070. You and Don Fischer on the other side. Shane wants to know about the Stroud rumor. It's kind of bouncing around the college football Twitterverse right now that CJ Stroud is thinking about going back to Ohio State and taking the NIL money and playing another year in Columbus, which would blank everything up, you would have to think. So that is the rumor. Unsubstantiated rumor. It is Twitter conversation right now, Shane. Matthew and more, other side. Don Fischer, voice of the Hoosiers, 5 o'clock hour on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan. Next.
It's Kevin and Query.
The Colts lose another heartbreaker to wrap up the season.
The Colts were trying to win that game, and yet the Colts are so abysmally inept and pathetic that the team that was trying to hold on to the number one pick in the draft won. It was such an egregious yet predictable victory over the hapless Colts that their coach still got fired.
Kevin and Query.
Weekday mornings at 7
on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Hello there. My name is Seychelle, and what makes the Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich original to me is the punch of flavors that's unlike any other. You get the crispy tenderness of the chicken and that hint of sourness from the pickles. Ta-da!
Hey, I'm Juan, and what makes the Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich original to me is you're going to get chicken that's crispy, golden, and juicy. This is the gold standard of chicken sandwiches.
Order the original Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich on the Chick-fil-A app today. Real customers paid for their testimonials.
Culver's could have only started in Wisconsin.
Hi, welcome to Culver's.
Just ask our team member, Sarah.
When you order a Culver's Butterburger, you're never just a customer. You're a guest in our home. See, where we come from, people do right by each other. It's why we cook each Butterburger to order just for you, right down to getting the perfect sear on the beef. That extra care may be a small town thing, but it's big time important to us.
Come on in and let us serve you with a smile that stretches from our hometown to yours. Welcome to Delicious. To everyone who appreciates a fresh meal that comes from the heart, let our team member Emma tell you what's special about the Culver's way.
We take great tasting burgers seriously in Wisconsin. Favorite recipes, fresh ingredients, real Wisconsin cheese. It's a place where traditions matter. So of course it's where Culver's Butterburger was born. Fresh, never frozen beef, seared to perfection, then topped with a lightly buttered toasted bun.
What can we say? To us, it's a whole lot more than a burger. It's a taste of home.
From Wisconsin with love.
Welcome to Delicious.
Hey, this is Lisa Stofan. Heard the Mark Patrick weight loss hypnosis hype? Well, I attended because my father stopped smoking with hypnosis. Hypnosis eliminated my desire for soda and fast food, made me want to exercise, and I lost 60 pounds in 6 months. My energy level exploded. I went to another session to deal with some other problem foods, and I lost another 10 pounds. In fact, I brought my husband, and he lost weight, and his cholesterol and blood pressure improved. My friend lost 20 pounds her first 2 months.
What are you waiting for? Join Mark Patrick seminars and lose the weight or stop smoking guaranteed for only $49.99. Hypnosis designed to destroy unwanted cravings, late night eating binges, boredom eating, stress eating. Seminars Thursday, January 19th at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites in Noblesville. Weight loss seminar 5:30, stop smoking seminar 8 p.m. And Saturday, January 21st at the Holiday Inn Indianapolis Airport. Weight loss seminar 11 a.m., stop smoking seminar 2 p.m. Register at markpatrickseminars.com.
Doing more in the community means that I get out and I volunteer.
Hi, I'm Hannah Yeagerbush here at Teachers Treasures, and we nominated David Barabee because he's such a great volunteer leader. He does so much for us to make our mission possible to serve teachers in Marion County.
And I'm Jiffy Lube owner Jennifer Sanner. At Jiffy Lube, we are rewarding Hoosier volunteers who use their vehicle to do more to make Indiana a better place to live.
My vehicle really allows me the ability to be where they need me. Either downtown, at the store, or out on a route, or working for the mobile operation.
Each month, Jiffy Lube of Indiana provides a volunteer free vehicle maintenance for a year, whether it's someone who delivers smiles and supplies or drives somewhere to serve on site. Jiffy Lube supports local givers who count on their car to do more for Indy, and we love to hear their stories.
If you know a volunteer who impacts your community, nominate them today to receive a year's worth of free vehicle maintenance. Just click the Do More tab at jiffylubeindiana.com.
93.5 and 107.5, The Fan.
WIBC HD2, W298BB, WIBC HD3, W228CX, Indianapolis. The Pacers welcome the Atlanta Hawks to the Fieldhouse this evening at 6:30 on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
The Ride with JMV.
This will be the high point of my day. It's all downhill from here.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
You do have college basketball coming up later on tonight. Boilermakers at home this evening. Purdue against Nebraska. If you remember that nail biter, not quite a month ago. Boilermakers third ranked, about 14 points. They're the favorite at home tonight. 15-1, 4-1 in the Big Ten. 7 o'clock. They're underway. 9-8. Freddie Hoiberg's team out of Lincoln. 2-4 in the Big Ten, and 1 for Butler. Butler needs a win. And Butler needs to string together just some possessions of good play and not look like a stinking pickup game like he did earlier this week against St. John's. You would normally say easier said than done against Villanova, but Villanova, first year without Jay Wright. Kyle Neptune, their head coach. 8-9, 2-4, Big East. 10-8, Butler, 2-5 in the Big East. And Nova riding a 2-game losing streak. Also, Butler, same thing with that 2-gamer right there. That is a 7 o'clock start as well. Collegiately speaking, coming up later on tonight, as I mentioned, too, IU's got a big one in Bloomington tomorrow to get some semblance of positivity back within, in and around and outside of the program. Any sort of belief. 3-game losing streak, and it all seemingly started in the second half back on the 5th at Carver Hawkeye Arena. It's been an absolute mess since then. Lost at home to Northwestern last Sunday, and then that whatever that thing was Wednesday night at State College against Penn State. 3-game losing streak, 10-6 overall, 1-4 in the Big Ten, and they get top 25 Wisconsin coming up tomorrow afternoon at 1. Voice of the Hoosiers, Don Fischer, scheduled to get with us. Until he does, I do have time to work in your calls. I haven't heard anything regarding Miles yet. Heard or seen anybody else with the back spasms? No Tyrese Haliburton. We know that. We'll see the juggling of the starting lineup and how that plays out. Hawks and Pacers, 6:30 pregame. That's a 7 o'clock tip tonight, the first of 2 consecutive. They get Memphis and John Moran. And again, a lot of local Hoosier State flavor coming at you tomorrow night. Jake LaRavia, Desmond Bain, John Conchar, to a degree, I guess, still John Jackson Jr. from Park Tudor for a while. Memphis is straight good out west. That's coming up tomorrow night, again at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. And then on the road in Milwaukee coming up on Monday because of that, and I hate the way that Todd Meyer put this, but I love Todd Meyer. I have been preempted because of Pacer Hoops on Monday. The preemption to the show. I would rather him write it in the email. JMV has decided to take the day off. Take the holiday off. But in fact, they have a matinee coming up on Monday in Milwaukee. And because of that, there will be no show on Monday. I'm back with you right here on Tuesday at 3 o'clock. All right, your calls coming up. Hopefully Don Fischer before the end of the show. And this on Twitter. JMV, I listen every day on the Ballard thing. I think you almost had to keep one line of structure for these players. We get a coach that's no BS and to the point, then we would be able to move on from Ballard. Love the show. Thank you very much. And that was how I described that a little bit earlier as a slight side argument we could have as to the reasons why you do keep Chris Ballard around for year number 7. For the continuity and the fact that you're going to be filling a couple of huge gaps, drafting a quarterback, head coaching role. Maybe the owner didn't want to do all of that and do the general manager too. Now, I would be willing to listen to that argument. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. All right, 239-1070. Some calls right now after 5. We'll start with Matthew. Matthew, welcome to the show.
How are we doing, JMV?
I am fantastic. Thank you for the call.
Boy, I'll tell you what, if this Stroud rumor is true, I can't believe I'm saying this. I hate to say it. You better get on the phone with the Raiders and call about Derek Carr because...
come on, man. Come on now.
You, man, Will Levis is not it. Not it. I'm telling you, he is... it's Carson Wentz 2.0. I'm telling you, all the physical tools upstairs, he doesn't have it. I'm telling you, he's not.
And I've just seen a couple of games, and that's been what I thought. And then when I put it out there like that, people that have watched him play say, with a better supporting cast, that he is a better quarterback, and he didn't have that this year in Lexington. I don't know that to be true, but I definitely have seen over the past year what you have seen.
Yeah, no, that's exactly the case. And even if they do trade up to 1, they're still going to pick Levis because Ballard is not. Listen, I think Bryce Young is the best quarterback in this draft. I don't care about the size whatsoever. I think he's a franchise quarterback. But Ballard is going to look at his size, and he's not going to want anything to do with him. I'm telling you that right now. They will take Levis, and it's not going to end up being good for the Colts. It's just not.
Yeah, well, I mean, and your thought is waiting another year to draft when, Caleb Williams and that particular class is out there. I can't imagine anybody would go for that. I can't imagine that the Colts would do that. But we'll see if this Stroud thing is just more than a Friday afternoon rumor.
We better hope that it is because we're in serious trouble if it is.
Matthew, you have a great weekend.
You too, JMV.
Fire up that JMV takeover tomorrow night. I'm just sitting here thinking about what I'm going to play to start the show. I love setting the pace of the show. Thinking about maybe a little Earth, Wind, and Fire to set that pace tomorrow night. What do you think? Yeah, I saw this a little bit earlier. I don't think anybody, certainly below Generation X, can really, and believe me, I was really young at the time. So it barely gets me. But to a lot of you listening, do you remember the incredible national, if not global, impact that Evel Knievel had back when we were little, back when we were young? I'm talking about single digits because we're talking about late 60s, early 70s stuff. Can you remember the impact that he had? His son, Robbie Knievel, passed away reportedly either earlier today or late last night. And he was also a daredevil. I don't think anybody understands the impact that Evel Knievel, his father, had on everything. It was incredible. And still to this day, no matter what generation you were a part of, no matter what toys you played with, still some of the, if not greatest toys of all time would be those of the Evel Knievel Ideal brand. Remember, Ideal was the company that produced toys back in the day, produced a lot of games. Ideal back then produced and created the Evel Knievel toy brands. And for a single digiter like me, it was awesome. I mean, I can never, like, you guys ever do that hand crank thing? Don't laugh. That hand crank thing, stop it, lounge. The hand crank thing where you set the motorcycle on and you cranked it up and then hit that button and it would take off and you'd try to ramp the Evel Knievel van. Of course, it never looked like it did in the commercial. In the commercial, like it goes on forever and ramps everything. And for you, it went about 2 feet and then wrecked. But I was thinking about that when I saw the passing of his son, Robbie Knievel, earlier today. The impact, the generational impact that Evel Knievel had, certainly on the older generation of Generation X, but certainly those that are 10 years, for example, older than me. Man, it was a big deal. Big deal. 239-1070. Roland is up next. Hello, Roland. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. Thanks for taking my call.
Yes, sir.
Is it just me, but I'm looking at guys going to the basket like on the Pacers team. They go all the way to the basket and then pass it 30 feet out to either turnover or a bad shot. And the other thing is everybody's looking for contact and falling to the floor. I think part of Tyrese getting injured was that every time you go to the basket, and Mather the same as some other players I've seen, they're always looking for contact instead of trying to make the shot, and then they're falling to the floor. To me, it's just ridiculous. It's Reggie Miller revisited.
No, I don't even know. We would disagree about that. I would disagree with the Reggie Miller stuff. This is like the era now. This is like Jimmy Butler basketball, because my man will just dribble right into you and then throw the ball over the backboard and go to the free throw line. No intention upon scoring whatsoever. He just is creating contact with you. And even if you're in position, more times than not, he gets that call so much that it doesn't matter to him that sometimes he's not going to get it. So that's Jimmy Butler brand of basketball. I agree with you. That drives me nuts. Now, I'm going to ask you this, Roland. How old are you?
62. I'll be 63
See,
on January 18th.
Roland, you come from an era, and so do I, of playing basketball where it was 100% illegal to ever jump in the air and not know where the hell you're going to throw it. And now that's part of the playbook, man. It is part of the playbook.
Yeah, and you know the other thing is these guys. If you're shooting 23% from three, try to get an easy shot.
Yeah. We're three's better than two. This is the three better than two era, Roland, too. So I wondered how old you were, because the old jump pass, and there's a difference between a jump pass the way it was then and a jump pass now is where you jump up and you just kind of hang up there and hope that somebody comes free. So
exactly.
That's what happens.
Absolutely.
Roland, you have a great weekend. Thank you. Remember that? Was it with IU fans? IU fans, this is a specific question for you, because that used to be such an illegal maneuver. You never ran as many stair laps in practice as you did after you jumped in the air and had no idea where you were going to throw it. But now that's been a thing. And with IU, I remember, and maybe I'm wrong, maybe it was prior to that, but I remember being introduced to that with Yogi Ferrell and that Tom Crean offense where Yogi, remember, would drive it baseline under the basket and jump up in the air under the basket and hit somebody that is hanging out along the three-point line waiting to shoot. That's, I think, the first time I ever saw that with IU basketball. I think, Roland, what that goes to show you that things have evolved certainly over the years than what we remember. But that was Stair Lap City. Stair Lap City, if you did that back in the day. Jason Hatfield had tweeted me a picture. Top two pop culture icons of the 70s would be Elvis and Evil. I would also add Muhammad Ali. That would be three right there. Muhammad Ali as well. But the top pop culture icons of the 70s, Elvis and Evel Knievel, and their kids die a day apart. You know what? That's what you brought that up, because Lisa Marie Presley passed away yesterday and Robbie Knievel today. That is very eerie. But along with Muhammad Ali, you're not going to find any more pop cultural icons in a decade than you're going to find in the 70s with Elvis and Evel. And certainly Evel Knievel. Jim Reamer says, it's okay to jump to pass, just don't jump to make a decision. Yeah. I don't think too many people are abiding by that rule any longer. There is jumping and then decision-making going on during that levitation, during that jump. And, like me, like I'm up and down. I'm barely even up and down. I can't even leave the floor, so there's going to be no jump pass because there's no jump in general. That is pretty funny, though. Chris, line 3 up next, 239-1070. Chris, welcome to the show.
Hey, John, how's it going?
Could not be better. How are you? Thank you for calling.
Yeah, so the couple things, the quarterback situation, we got to all be realistic, whether it's Stroud, Levis, Bryce Young. I mean, you're probably looking at 5-6 wins. Colts fans aren't going to be happy with that. The other thing is, you got to offer anything and everything and get Lamar Jackson. He obviously does not want to be there, or he would be playing. And going to the Miles Turner thing, 4 years, 140 is probably the number. I know it sounds really high, but he has to have that DeAndre Ayton amount in his head. Ayton's a 17-10 guy, and Turner's a 17-8 guy.
Yeah.
So, but
you think he would take less than that number? He'd have to have in the neighborhood of Ayton and then offer sheet.
I think he'd have to be close. I mean, he doesn't owe us. Why should he take a huge discount?
No, there's no doubt about that. Yes.
I mean, if you're talking a couple million, but I don't know. I think you take Turner off this team, and it's going to be huge. But I don't know. It's going to suck without him, though.
Yeah, it is, and we'll see how they respond without Haliburton, because honestly, the other night they got down 25, and obviously without Miles, without Aaron Nesmith, without O'Shea Brissett, but they came back also without Tyrese Haliburton the other night too. That's tough to sustain. Don't get me wrong, tough to sustain.
They're still going to play good tonight. I mean, because they have effort. There's effort there. So,
well, Chris, and there is no doubt. I said yesterday that this is now the team that you expect to look like that. You expect them to come back. You expect them with all these cliches of never quit, never say die. That's a Goonies expression. But all that, and you expect that from them now. So that's different from what they were. I think the problem is with being able to close some games, you're shortening up the bench now because of that. Hopefully it's not a while. And then you got a tough one coming up here. Like I mentioned, you get tonight the Hawks.
Daniel Tice is ready to play. So, and I heard he's pretty excited now. At first he probably wasn't when he was getting traded to the Pacers, but I hear Daniel Tice is pretty excited to play with this team. So he could definitely use a powerful guy on the inside. So
yeah, you got a tough schedule coming up.
Would you give Turner that amount of money?
I think Turner needs to stay with his team, so yeah.
But the other problem is he's played in 47 games is the max number of games he's played in the past 4 years.
That is beyond his relation and connection with the team. That would be the type of thing that would worry me more than anything else. But I think to me, how he has been with this team and the positives that have come out of that, and how he can grow still at the age of 26 with this group, I think it far outreaches my worries of him having to be out because of injury. Because this is the Pacers. I mean, it's going to happen. It's inevitable. Somebody's going to get injured, and we're going to freak out about it because that's the way that it has been for a number of years with the Pacers. So you just got to deal with it.
Yeah, Haliburton, I don't think will let him decline. And then you got a guy like Buddy Hield, and Buddy has played in nearly 80-plus games every year of his career.
Yeah, and that is even more ridiculous to think about trading him right now, too. Completely agree. Chris, have a great weekend.
Great show, buddy. Take care. See ya.
You got it. Tomorrow, Super Wildcard Weekend starts with the Seahawks and the 49ers. No Mike Williams for the Chargers. If anybody was going with the Jaguars tomorrow night, the Chargers are 1.5-point favorites on the road. No wide receiver Mike Williams. That's 8:15 tomorrow night. The Seahawks 49ers precede that kick at 4:30 from Levi's Stadium with the Seahawks and the 49ers. 3 on Sunday. Dolphins Bills at 1. Giants Vikings at 4:30. Again, Skylar Thompson getting the start for the Dolphins under center. Giants, Vikings, and as Chris mentioned, no Lamar Jackson, and you're maybe no Lamar Jackson for the long-term future with the Ravens. Ravens, Bengals, 8:15 coming up on Sunday night, Cowboys and Buccaneers. They will wind up Super Wildcard Weekend on Monday night in Tampa. Mark on line 4 at 239-1070. Welcome to the show, Mark.
Yeah, hi, JMV. How you doing today?
I am fantastic. Thank you for the call.
Great. Hey, I appreciate the chance to talk. Couple things, coach-wise and the quarterbacks. Stroud is being talked about so high. First of all, I don't think it's ever going to get to the Colts. I imagine he'll be the second one. And, Bryce is a pedigree quarterback, great program, so he probably will do well. Stroud surprises me. He was the second best quarterback on the field against Michigan to a sophomore.
Yeah.
And he was not that great when it came down to crunch time in the semifinal game. So
you didn't think Stroud was that great?
No, I did not. He was overthrowing the receivers, and
I thought his escapability, the way he maneuvered, the way he made throws, he got him down the field again. That was all a defensive thing. I would tend to question. I wanted to ask you, the quarterback from TCU, is he a senior, that Stetson guy, or is he a young? No, obviously Bennett is at Georgia. But
I'm sorry.
Yeah, Duggan is at TCU, and they're both draft eligible, yes.
I think those would be better possibilities for the Colts to work with. Work on keeping one of the older guys to show him for a year or so, and then bring him along. I
am curious, Mark. Don't go anywhere yet. I'm curious because obviously what you saw in that semifinal against Georgia is different than what I saw. What was your problem again with what you saw in Stroud?
Overthrowing receivers when it came down, except for the last drive. They did get it down there, but that was a lot of runs that got set up for the field goal that the guy shanked.
I think he kind of set him up, too, though. That escapability set up that situation.
What did he do in Michigan? Throwing interceptions and missing the guys long while the sophomores throwing everything accurate lasers in there, and he showed the confidence. You find an OSU quarterback that succeeded in the league, and it'll be the first. Fields is a nice running one, but there's not an OSU quarterback that's really been that successful. You can go back 20 years. Anyway,
I don't know how many Kentucky guys have been successful. See, I just don't worry about that.
That's true, too. Not that many that great. Coach-wise, we're going to have to get a good coach with the decision, but the fans are also going to have to realize we're going to probably lose all the assistants. We got nice fellas and good company guys and stuff, but Reggie, the receivers didn't do it this year. So, Reggie, we're going to have to see if you're really a receivers coach.
Here's the other thing in this offseason. You got to bring somebody. I say this every stinking year, but you got to tap into the free agent wide receiver market and bring somebody in that has a history of going out there and doing it and catching passes to add to this group. You have to.
Right. We like Gus on defense, and we like that special teams coach. They're both outstanding, but I'd be surprised really with a top-name coach if they're going to keep any of the others. So be ready for that, Colts fans. It's time to get some real movement on this team, and let's see if we can get to 8-8 or something next year. Hey, appreciate the time, sir. Have a great evening.
Mark, thank you. I just don't agree with the Stroud thing, but my sample size, I think you can uncover dirt with all these dudes if you want to. I just looked at that in terms of what he did and what has been necessary, or maybe even better said, what's been missing from this Colts quarterback this past year. When I watched Stroud play in that semifinal against Georgia, he did a lot of things where we all sat on a Sunday and thought, man, if only with the way this line is playing, for example, or if only your quarterback had an arm or could throw on the run or had any escapability, had any mobility whatsoever. I just thought Stroud against the highest of high-level teams played that way in that semifinal. This is my thought. I saw this from Tony East in his Twitter account. Rick Carlisle says Tyrese Haliburton's injury regarding that, quote, we have 3 very good point guards and we have 2 that are healthy. And Andrew Nembhard obviously is going to get more time at that position. I'm trying to see if anything has been said. Yeah, John Martin says the late, great Jared Lorenzen was the best. Actually, Tim Couch, John, was probably the best quarterback to ever come out of Kentucky. He didn't do anything at the NFL level. But Tim Couch, I think, would be the answer to that particular question. The number 1 overall selection back in the day. Uh-oh. According to Tony East, O'Shea Brissett in tonight. Aaron Nesmith, Miles Turner out. So no Aaron Nesmith, no Tyrese Haliburton, and no Miles Turner. Hey, you guys got to hang out near my Twitter account later on tonight because it's going to be pure entertainment for you. Hunker down and get near my Twitter account tonight. It's going to be outstanding. All right, we'll come back. A quick break. Is that Don? Okay, great. Now, let's take a break and come back. Don Fischer, voice of the Hoosiers, on the other side. Hey, don't go anywhere if you're on hold. I'll get to you as well. Again, no Tyrese Haliburton, no Aaron Nesmith, no Miles Turner tonight. Hawks, Pacers, tip time, 7 o'clock, 6:30 pregame. Voice of the Hoosiers, Don Fischer, and your calls with all of us next.
Indy's number 1 for new country.
I got some famous friends.
Nobody plays more new country. 97.1 Hank FM.
Home shows provide homeowners the deepest discounts of the year on remodeling projects. And right now, Window Nation is bringing home show savings right into your home. Schedule a free, no-obligation in-home demonstration today and lock in this incredible offer. Get 2 free windows with every 2 you buy with no limit. Plus, pay no interest for 60 months. Imagine the savings in cost and lower energy bills, but you don't just have to imagine how beautiful new Window Nation windows will look on your home. You can see it. Use their free virtual visualizer at windownation.com/home show. Upload a picture of your house and try out hundreds of options online. Get design tips from the experts and learn how Window Nation's trained installation specialists have helped over 150,000 homes with over 96% satisfaction. But remember, these once-a-year home show savings are for a very limited time. Call Window Nation today at 866-90-NATION or go to windownation.com/home show. Get 2 windows free with every 2 you buy. Pay no interest for 60 months. That's 5 full years. 866-90-NATION or go to windownation.com/home show.
Hey, John here for the absolute best. I've got 304,000 miles on my truck, and so much of that is due to the Joe Childers Run CarX locations, the 14 strong here in central Indiana. I maintain with every single season, including winter, and maintaining your winter road readiness is key right here. Tires, brakes, brake pads. Remember those fluids, right? Those exchanges, and always the oil changes. Squeeze the most out of your set of wheels, whether you have 300K plus on it or just a little bit over 3,000. Doesn't matter. Start maintaining now and do it with the Joe Childers Run. CarX locations in central Indiana, all 14 to serve you. To find the one nearest you, CarX.com today.
You do not have to go through yet another year with that knee pain or back pain. Hoosiers with chronic pain are getting real lasting relief from QC Kinetics. I'm Kevin Bowen, and QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in getting that joint pain corrected with advanced regenerative medicine using their unique protocols and healing agents from your own body to target aching joints, repairing and restoring damaged tissue so you can move again with no surgery, no drugs, and no downtime. Got shoulder pain, excruciating hip pain. If you have any arthritis pain or lingering pain from another injury, don't let them operate you or give you more steroids, and say no to the pain pills. You call QC Kinetics for a free consultation. It's 317-559-PAIN. Again, locations in Eagle Creek and Greenwood. Make 2023 the year you say goodbye to joint pain. QC Kinetics. It's got people living their best life again. 317-559-PAIN. Locations in Eagle Creek and Greenwood. QC Kinetics.
Who will earn a playoff spot? Get to your Ultimate Sports Lodge to cheer on your favorite pro football team. The action kicks off Saturday at Twin Peaks at 4:30 as Seattle takes on San Francisco, followed up with San Diego versus Jacksonville at 8:15. Are you a fan of Twin Peaks? Sign up for their e-club to stay up to date on all things Twin Peaks and score free stuff. Signing up is easy. Just go to twinpeaksrestaurant.com/peaks-club to get started today.
Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views.
What if I told you, in Iran, women are banned from going to soccer games?
Mom, take the ball.
For 43 years, Iranian women have fought back. Police pushed us. Troops. This is their story.
The joy was forbidden.
What is the meaning of that?
That is how they control you.
I'm Shimol Yai. Listen to the new 30 for 30 podcast, Pink Card. Available now.
Hey Indy, Tim Pearson here, founder of Chattanooga Whiskey, the only Tennessee high malt. We all want to know what craft really means. The definition of craft bourbon is Chattanooga Whiskey. Our people, our recipe, our bourbon. We spent years perfecting a style of bourbon that no other distillery can make except for Chattanooga Whiskey. We call it Tennessee High Malt, and it's the dark chocolate to every other bourbon's milk chocolate. So next time you want something truly craft, drink Chattanooga Whiskey, enjoy responsibly.
Shop the winter savings sale at your local Grand Appliance to save hundreds on top appliance brands. Visit grandappliance.com for complete details. Grand Appliance, the appliance expert since 1930.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. Your home for indie sports. Now with even more ways to listen.
Listen on air.
Online at 1075thefan.com.
And on our free app.
Stay connected to all things indie sports, including the latest news, show blogs, and catch up on what you've missed with our podcast.
We're never more than just a click away.
Download our app at Google Play and on the App Store. From your home for indie sports.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
The Ride with JMV.
And the beat goes on, yeah. And the beat goes on.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
And last word, top of the hour. Hawks Pacers, no Miles, no Neesmith, no Haliburton, but O'Shea is back tonight. Hawks Pacers, 6:30 pre, 7 tip. First of two straight at Gainbridge Fieldhouse tonight. Got a lot of Hoosier flavor on that Memphis Grizzlies team. Second last check in the West. They're in town coming up tomorrow night. Pacers in an afternoon affair that will preempt me. Pacers in Milwaukee coming up in the afternoon on Monday. Your calls on the other side. Voice of the Hoosiers, Don Fischer, with us via the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. Hello, Don. How are you?
I'm good, John. I apologize. I was waiting for your phone call and didn't come for like 2 or 3 or about 5:15 or so, and then I decided to go elsewhere. But because I didn't know, I mean, I knew you guys were trying to call me or were going to try and call me, but my phone has been acting up today, and I'm not even sure if you can understand what I'm saying now.
No, we got you. We got you loud and clear. First thing, I want to know where you are right now.
Well, I'm literally on my way home. So I'm down here in Greenwood, but like I said before, that's why I said be on my cell today, because I know I'd be in the car.
Yeah.
And honestly, I did not. It never rang, and I never got cut off from anything on the radio through my Bluetooth. So I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, all good, all good. Just drive carefully, and we'll talk a little bit about IU and what is really a monster game for them tomorrow afternoon at 1:00 against Wisconsin. On to that in a second, but the last three, it seemed to all kind of fade. And I know that Race Thompson's injury, obviously, in the Iowa game, and Xavier Johnson being out is playing a role. You know that, but it all started the downhill slide at Carver Hawkeye in that second half and hasn't gotten any better in the last two. What with this team right now at the top of the list of things that is affecting them to the point to where these last three have looked the way they have?
Well, I think they're not playing hard enough at this point, and I say that even though we've got X and Race out. But I think Race's exit in that Iowa ball game, for whatever reason, really affected these guys psychologically, and I'm sure that X's injury as well affected them mentally to some degree. But I think they felt like they could overcome that with the practices that they've had, those kinds of things leading up to that game. when he went out, I don't know what happened there exactly from a mental perspective, but you're right. They haven't played the same way since the first half of the Iowa ball game. They've played the same way each and every time they've played since then, and it's not been a good experience for them because obviously they're not beating anybody at this point. And the game against, the game really against Northwestern, I think, just basically solidified the fact that they are in a major mind warp right now, and I don't know how they get out of it because they've, in the last 3 games, all losses, they have given up an average of almost 87 points a game. That's just not the defensive team we saw a year ago or even most of this season until all of a sudden we've had these problems here of late. And I don't know what the answer is, John, and I'm not a coach. I'm not a psychologist. I just know this team does not look the same.
No, it doesn't. Don Fischer, voice of the Hoosiers, IU, Wisconsin, coming up at 1 o'clock tomorrow. Downstairs, 93 WIBC, underway with your pregame at noon. And you talk about the defense being disappointing. We saw them give wide open looks early in that game from distance to Northwestern. That really fired up Northwestern and got them off the mark. And then inexplicably, with a game plan that states what Penn State wants to do, and Don's phone, I think, just hung up right there. Inexplicably, knowing what Penn State wants to do from 3, letting them get off the mark and have so many step into wide open 3-point looks on Wednesday night, it just, you can't help but ask yourself, all right, players not playing hard enough, okay. Are they being coached with a game plan that says this is what you need to do, this is what you have to do? That's what's been problematic. And 1 o'clock coming up tomorrow, Don Fischer rejoins on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. I mean, Northwestern got that kickstart on Sunday early from distance, and then Penn State, that's what they do, and got to do it with relative ease. It kind of makes you wonder what these guys are thinking about, what they know about these teams they're playing, especially Penn State. That was mind-numbing on Wednesday night.
It was. There's no question about it, John. And, I don't know what the problem is. I know Mike and his coaching staff are really flustered at this point and frustrated by what's going on. The inability to execute what the coaches are asking them to do is just mind-boggling because they've done it before, and most of them have been around. Obviously, Malik and Jalen Hood-Schifino have not been, but the rest of these guys have been around the program for a while, and I don't know that the teaching's any different than it was a year ago or anything like that. I mean, there's only been one change of the coaching staff. So it's basically the same program. And the only emphasis this year, a little bit more so than it was a year ago, is on the offensive game plan. And for the most part, that's been pretty good. I mean, they've got more guys shooting threes now, and they're making them. Obviously, Millerkop's still not taking as many as he should. And I'm telling you the way, Trey Galloway is shooting it in practices, and every time he's been shooting it in games, he needs to start shooting a bit more, too, from that three-point line. But I'm just talking about right now about the rest of the game, the defensive struggles that they're having, stopping straight-line drives, keeping the ball in front of them.
Yeah, and the other thing, Don, you mentioned the offense. It doesn't seem like the defenses are given, right now, the way this team lines up, are giving much of a look of concern outside of Trace and outside of Hood-Schifino. You know what I mean? It seems like, right. and that's to your point about Galloway or anybody else, really. If you could just get some sort of individual offensive step up where it is clear the other defenses really aren't that dialed in other than 2 guys.
Yeah, and I don't know what the answer is there. Like John, I've told you this a million times. You've had me on the show for a number of years now, and I don't know an X from an O. I just know what I see on the floor and what I've seen in the past, and this isn't resembling that. And I think these coaches got their work cut out for them right now because I think it's more mental than it is anything else. And if these guys have given up the ship because they've lost 2 players, then we're not looking at the kind of mindset that we would expect from an Indiana basketball team.
Yeah, that's when I heard Mike say, I think it was after the Northwestern game, when he was asked about the defense, and he had mentioned, well, you can look down the bench and there are two guys that aren't playing. That probably wasn't the greatest thing to say to other guys who you want to play defense and haven't to this point, right? I mean, I would expect him to probably say something different and not give the excuse, well, these guys are out and this is why this defense is not as good as it should be. Because you mentioned it at the beginning. There's so much of it about effort, and I know that that's easy to say, but you can see it, and you've certainly seen it in these last two.
Yeah, I mean, playing hard is the only thing most coaches ask of any player. Obviously, they want you to execute the game plan, but the first priority to doing that is playing hard and working at it. And I just don't see that right now. And I'm not saying that all of these guys are not playing hard, but there are several that are not. And I don't know if they're confused. Maybe they do not understand what their assignments are, their role is. But playing hard is pretty simple, and it's pretty easy to understand when a coach asks you to play hard and to play with intensity. And we haven't seen that. We haven't seen that intensity level, and we've talked about this ad nauseum as well. The intensity level they go out into ball games with, at home or away these days, is just not good enough. They just do not look like they are as engaged as they should be. And again, maybe it's on the coaches. I don't know, but at the same time, I can't believe that these guys aren't telling them exactly what I'm telling you right now, because I guarantee you, everybody I've talked to says, hey, we're talking about this stuff all the time.
And you know what's even more interesting about that is Don Fischer joins us, is you don't want to see anybody get injured. You don't want to see your teammates get injured. But when they go down, and you're thinking about guys on this team that have a resume playing at a high level in the past, seemed like you'd be chomping at it to want to get in there and just go, as I put it in GC, go balls out on it. And you haven't seen that part either. There's just been no step up even with that, with some high-level guys coming out of high school, which, it just either is maddening, confusing, both, I guess, at this point.
Yeah, well, there's no doubt. It's confusing as heck. I don't understand it. I know the coaches are struggling with it. The players, obviously, are having to deal with it as well. I can't imagine that if they go into this Wisconsin ball game tomorrow and can't execute the game plan, they're going to get murdered. Because you know as well as I do, Wisconsin runs a system, and that system doesn't vary. You're going to get exactly what the coaches set you up, what you have to do, and if you don't execute it against these guys, they will make you pay virtually every time down the floor. They try to shorten the game by taking as much time on the shot clock as they possibly can, and it's just a really good program. And they may not have the best athletes in the world, but I tell you what, they run their system as well as any team in the country does, and that's why each and every year Wisconsin's in the top 3 or 4 teams in the league.
I know you couldn't tell on Sunday, and maybe it was the noon start, I don't know, but you talk about a team tomorrow at 1 o'clock that will need the extra enthusiasm and energy that it can soak up from that crowd. That seems also to be necessary. Just outside the level of basketball, it obviously needs to be better. It just seems like a good, loud, into it, energetic crowd would be necessary to try to get these guys up off the mat a little bit tomorrow.
Well, I hope so. I mean, right now, there's not been much to cheer about of late. And 3 games into the Big Ten second portion of the season, I say that because they had played 2 games back in December. But, 3 games into the January schedule, this team can't afford to have a 4th or a 5th ball game in a row go down the tubes. And if that happens, you can just about write off any chances of winning a Big Ten. Well, you can write that off, first of all, almost right now. But just to be in the hunt and to compete, those things are going bye-bye if this team can't respond here in the next couple of ball games.
Yeah, no doubt. Wisconsin tomorrow at 1, at Illinois next Thursday, Michigan State on a Sunday, at Minnesota on a Wednesday. And yeah, tomorrow is of ultra importance. Don Fischer, voice of the Hoosiers, noon start tomorrow for you and the crew, correct, down in Bloomington?
Yeah, we're on the air at 12 noon, and our tip is, of course, at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. John, as always, having a 1 o'clock game is just like heaven.
How you feel? You feeling okay? I noticed you had a little bit of you're battling some stuff the other night, certainly when I was listening.
Well, I hung around Dr. Rink for a couple of bus rides, about a week ago, and he was coughing up a storm, and naturally I picked up his germs.
Come on, Doc.
And, and he had a mask on part of the time, but it didn't. I told him, I said, you know what? Everything I've heard about masks, if they don't work, it's true.
You coughing in your vicinity, and then you end up with it. I was thinking about you listening the other night, because you go all the way. One of the worst places, I'm assuming, to go is where you went Wednesday on the road midweek or like that, and then to be able to call that type of performance. Yeah, you probably didn't muster too much energy when you weren't feeling great in the first place. So,
well, if you heard my post game commentary with Coach Woodson, if you listen to that, if you went that far into the broadcast, you found out very quickly that I was really a frustrated dude, and it sounded like it on the air. Two or three folks that know me well go, that was not good.
Were people getting out of your way at the end of that game? Hey, giving you a wide berth? Were they done a little bit?
Yeah. Well, there weren't enough people around me to worry about.
Yeah. I wonder, man. I wondered listening. Anyway, noon tomorrow, 1 o'clock to start from Bloomington. That's downstairs, 93 WIBC. They have the call where Don and Eric and John have it for me from Simon Scott Assembly Hall in Bloomington with Wisconsin and IU. Hey, thanks for hanging in there and coming on. Feel better. You're going to wake up and you're going to be invigorated tomorrow morning, get a little nice drive. It'll take you, because you're heavy-footed, about 5 minutes to get down to Bloomington, and big-time turnaround for IU. A little feel-good on a Saturday for you at 1 o'clock tomorrow.
We're going to look forward to that, John. I'm going to hold you to it, too.
Wait, we got dinner. I got dinner at Shallow's on me if it doesn't turn out that way tomorrow, okay?
10-4.
All right, buddy. Hang in there. We'll see you.
See you, John.
It's Don Fischer, voice of the Hoosiers on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. Tell me this, James. I need one break before we take off here. All right, quick break. We'll come back. If you're on hold, I'll get to you. Close out the show before the last word, top of the hour. Pacer Hoops, who's in, who's out, and more coming up on the other side. 93.5, 107.5 The Fan.
We all come together and stand together to serve our veterans. We invest in the latest technology.
We take the time to train the next generation of doctors and nurses. We work together to make sure we heal their bodies and their minds.
This is our mission. More than 300,000 of us working as one, together with families and loved ones. No matter where they live in this country, we'll be there.
We stand strong, united. Stand with us in caring for our veterans.
It's Johnny for Love Heating and Air Conditioning. That's my friends John and Chris Love at 317-353-2141. All of your heating needs. Just make sure everything's working the way that it should this time of year, and do it with Love Heating and Air. Do it with the best, like I do, at 317-353-2141 online, love-hvac.com today.
I'm a firefighter.
A teacher.
I'm a farmer. I'm a barber.
A waitress. A mom. We're all part of your community. Every day we move in and out of each other's busy lives.
It's easy to take for granted all the little moments that make up our everyday.
Some are good, others not so much.
But that's life. It's when you experience a moment of uncertainty, something or someone's behavior that doesn't seem quite right.
These are the moments to take a pause.
Because if something doesn't feel right, it's probably not. It's not about paranoia
or being afraid.
It's about standing up and protecting our communities.
One detail at a time.
Because a lot of little details can become a pattern.
We
trust our instincts.
Just like you should.
Because only you know what's not supposed to be in your everyday.
So protect your everyday.
If you see something suspicious, say something to local authorities.
Hi, I'm Sherry Shepherd. You probably know me best as a co-host on The View. More importantly, I'm a mom. I talk to a lot of moms, and I'll tell you what, we all want the best for our babies. But each year, more than 500,000 babies are born prematurely, and this can lead to serious health problems. The good news is that now if you're pregnant or a new mom, you can get easy access to information to keep your baby healthy. It's through a free service called Text for Baby. Pregnant women and new moms get timely, expert health tips sent directly to their cell phones. The tips will help you care for your new child in each important phase of early development. Get Text for Baby, free messages on your cell phone to help you through your pregnancy and your baby's first year. Just text BABY, B-A-B-Y, to 511-411. That's BABY, B-A-B-Y, to 511-411 for the health of your baby.
My grades were bad.
I appeared to be doing good at my school life, but if you would see me at home, it would have been a completely different story.
I mean, it was just rough focusing on school when your mother is somebody you have to take care of.
There are students who need somebody.
Communities in Schools is helping more than 1.3 million kids get whatever they need to succeed in school. You can help change the picture of education at communitiesinschools.org.
I hear people say we can't save every kid, but I think that we can.
Soccer Saturday featuring Indy 11. If this is your football, this is your show. Saturday at 9 on The Fan. The Ride with JMV.
Are you kidding? You think I'd join this crummy snobatorium? But this whole place sucks. That's right, it sucks.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Last word prior to Hawks Pacers tonight. 6:30 respectively, 7 p. are underway right here. Indiana Sports Talk with Bob Lovell, who joined the show earlier today. Later on tonight as well. And then we'll get you into tomorrow. I mentioned, too, coming up tomorrow, you got IU Wisconsin from Bloomington, 1 o'clock that start. Noon is your pregame coverage downstairs. 93 WIBC for you right there. So a lot going on. Hey, by the way, too, I want to remind you, tonight for the game, there's no Haliburton, no Turner, and no Nesmith. All out versus the Hawks tonight. O'Shea Brissett, who missed that Wednesday night loss in New York with an injury, is back tonight. No Nesmith, no Turner, and no Haliburton. Later on tonight for that 7 o'clock start with the Hawks and the Pacers. First of two, back-to-back here at Cambridge Fieldhouse. It's Memphis in town coming up tomorrow night. And Stefan at 239-1070. Stefan, welcome to the show.
Hey, how you doing, Jay?
How you doing?
Hey, so I got a conspiracy theory on this whole situation, and I hope and pray that the Colts do it. If we take Will Levis in the first round, I feel like they should follow up with the second pick and take Anthony Richards and do the same thing that Washington did with RG3 and Kirk Cousins.
So you like the quarterback from Florida?
I do. I really do. He's 21 years old. He's got a lot of growth and potential in him. I feel if he literally gets here and you groom him, I think he can turn into something that's special.
Now, what was the other part of what you put in there as far as your thought?
If we draft Will Levis, I hope they turn around in the second round, pick up Anthony Richards.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I misunderstood you. I thought you were saying they go after a different position.
No.
Okay.
So, I mean, the thing about it is, I would rather just take the kid from Northwestern at 4 and then draft
the lineman. Yeah.
Second round.
Hey, Stefan, I would not rule anything like that out of the question because it's not like there's a new general manager around. It's the same one for the past 6 years. So I wouldn't, as much as it may hurt people to hear that, at this point, I wouldn't rule that out. I'm not suggesting it's going to happen, but I sure as hell wouldn't rule it out knowing who you're dealing with.
I mean, the thing about it is, if you're going to double down, at least double down on it. Like, if you want a quarterback here, double down on it and just move on. Like, at this point, it's like everybody wants the quarterback, and Chris Ballard wants to listen to everybody cry about what we ain't got. Well, if we put two quarterbacks there, if one don't work, we got another one that's right there.
Well, we'll see. You may be right. I know that more people than not are hoping are not going to be right, but you may be. And again, I mean, it's Ballard at the controls here again. So I would expect them still to go after that first pick with the quarterback that they like. But you ask the what if. What if he's not there? Then what do you do? And do you go to that common theme and that mantra of best player available and my board, let the board talk to me? I'm assuming so. A lot to play out then, but I'm not going to rule that out, Stefan.
Hey, Jay.
Yo.
So like this. If the quarterback on the board ain't there and Will Anderson is there, please, for the love of God.
Get somebody coming off the edge.
Draft that man.
We'll see. Again, Stefan, thank you for the call. I think he's going to be the quarterback that they like, but then you have to ask the question, if you don't move yourself up to have your pick, how can you assure that? Then would you take the best player available? Would that be the best quarterback available? And yeah, you guys know the 6 years of Chris Ballard in terms of drafting quarterbacks, in terms of what he likes. I'm assuming nothing would surprise you right there. Bob Lovell a little bit earlier, Indiana Sports Talk, Mike Wells, ESPN Radio. Nationally tomorrow night for Mike, he's actually going to go up against me. Now, I know where you should listen, but I also want you to take in Mike, ESPN Radio coming up tomorrow night, and voice of the Hoosiers, Don Fischer. Hey, James, fantastic couple of weeks from you. Well done, buddy. James on the other side has done a swell job. Tomorrow night, JMV Takeover, 6 until midnight. All requests, B105.7. I hope to have you there with me for a little bit of a party all night long. Last word is next. Hawks and Pacers after that right here. 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. Have a great weekend.
When my landlord said rent could be cheaper if we were friends with benefits, I'd heard of sexual harassment in the